Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, we're episode 300 of Games My Mom Found. 300, guys. I just gotta give myself a pat on the back. And everyone else for joining, that's been with me all this time. We have done it. The show has gone on for 300 episodes or 300 weeks and haven't missed a single week. I don't usually brag about that but I wanted to because it's a big number.
That's awesome.
So, and I should say, who's with me going inside it? Who's going into a TV with me tonight? That's all I got.
I am Joe Butler, and I sing the local Walmart jingle to make myself feel better.
Hey, I'm reaching out to the truth. It's Kerry Caruso.
I'm shopping on Sunday. It's Nate.
I wrote something for this, but to keep my streak going of not saying anything funny during my intro, it's me, Michael Colby.
Welcome back, and thank you guys all for joining me for this very special episode. We are here to talk about Persona 4.
Hell yeah.
Oh, somebody had pulled up the year in the wiki who did not do that.
2012, right?
2008 originally.
Oh, 2008. Oh,
2008.
right.
I mean, we are talking about Golden, but the original version came out 2008, developed and published by Atlas.
Oh, it did? Oh, the wiki says 2000. It says 2008 Japan. That's right. 2008
Yeah.
North America. Oh, I see. Yeah. I was looking at... Yeah, no, you're right.
Okay. That doesn't always happen, so... I
It
mean,
hit the PlayStation Store in 2014. That's what it was. That's what I was looking at.
Oh, weird.
That's how
Yeah.
I first played it.
Weird that it was 6 years. I guess they didn't have the PlayStation Store on the PS2, though, so that makes sense, actually.
Well, that, and I think it took them a little bit even to set it up, too. I don't think it was around right when the PS3 came out, so...
Yeah.
No, this was Endgame PS2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 2008. Yeah, 360's already be out at this point. No wonder I never played this until later. All right. And Joe, you had something you wanted to start off with saying?
Yes, hello, listeners, and viewers, probably.
Viewers. Some people might stare at the YouTube logo for hours. I don't know.
Thank you for joining us for this very special Persona 4 300 episode. But please be advised, if you have never played these games or never looked up anything, please be advised this game, even though you do play as a bunch of high schoolers pretending to be detectives, it does have heavy topics such as violence, pedophilia, sexual assault, sexual abuse, and other big heavy topics and homophobia. So if you're not really into that or would like to watch the game first and then have us listen to it, go ahead and do that.
All right. Yeah, 'cause this is one we're going to spoil the story, and this is a very story-heavy game, which is not always what we do.
Yeah, one thing that before we even really get into it too as well that I want to bring up, I want to say for the podcast because I don't know if everyone knew, they are eventually remaking this, and the guy who writes most of the Persona series, which is Persona 3, 4, and most of 5, no longer works on the games. And whenever they ask him about his writing for the games, he's like, "Oh yeah, I've never talked to a girl in my entire life." And it's like, oh, that's why these games are fucking weird. So that's why Persona 3 is a little bit of a better remake.
Okay. That's an odd... I mean, I don't know if it's because he's just not into women or just he's like
old
Raj
Japanese
from Big
old
Bang Theory.
Japanese man. Old Japanese man. So it's just, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing in Japan. There's like kind of like a whole subculture. It's like not the same as our incels because they're typically not, violent about it.
Okay.
Or hateful, or necessarily hateful, but there's just like a whole subculture of not asexual, but they don't have any much interactions.
They like to focus more on their work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, nothing, as long as you're not a piece of shit, nothing wrong with that.
It is bad form, though, to have, first of all, men who don't talk to women writing women characters, and also old men writing for kids.
But he doesn't work, but he's retired from it now, right?
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah,
so hopefully when we get to Persona 6, and I've heard good things about Metaphor Refantasio, which is definitely a Persona adjacent game from the same people. Well, and I've heard that it's better in some of these places.
I mean, speaking of Persona adjacent, like was it Shin Megami Tensei's Nocturne or the 5 one, the new one that just came out?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The main character is like non-binary, and the voice actor is also non-binary. So it's like, yeah, they've moved on slowly. They're moving on slowly.
They're getting there. Yeah. My wife actually got me 5 for our anniversary, but I haven't gotten to it yet because Mike has not asked me to play it for a podcast yet. So
it's not planned to happen next year.
No, I'm just joking.
So,
I'm like, well, I can't play that because I've got to play this 95-hour game for Mike's podcast first.
I am going to try to get us to do Red Dead 2 next year is my goal during the summer.
I love to complain, even though I'm like always asking, like, hey, can put me on? I'll be on anything.
So I like to always start these off with our memories. So I missed Persona 4 completely on the PS2. I want to say a few years before this podcast started, I played through part of it, got to Mitsuo's dungeon, fucked up, had to restart my save, took a year off, came back, started over, then beat the game on the PS2 Classic. And then this version I played was the PS4 Golden, or PS4, Persona 4 Golden on the Steam Deck, which Steam Deck made this game a lot better than sit in front of a TV. So there is that. Joe, what is your history with it?
So this game came out in like 2008 in America, 2009 in America. 2008 in
It's
America.
December 2008. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was in high school. This game did irreputable things to me. But I didn't play this one first. I played Persona 3 first, and then that got me to play this. So I was doing the whole weird thing where I go around and call my friend senpai, and we eat ramen, go over and eat ramen, and just be a bunch of weird fucking little weeaboo freaks. So this game series means a lot to me because but the only downside that I'll get into, and I'm pretty sure we all will, and it sounds weird, this is the weakest of the trilogy. And by trilogy, I mean Persona 3, 4, and 5.
It is?
Yeah, this is the weakest one. And it was the most
Wow.
popular one, too. We got dance spin-offs, we got anime,
Yeah.
we got Golden.
Fighting game.
Got the 2 fighting games, 3 of those weird DS, like, dungeon crawlers.
You're talking about
Q.
Persona Q, right?
Yeah, Persona Q. Yeah.
There's two of them. They're on the 3DS, but they have characters from throughout the entire series of Persona.
Yeah, but they fused Persona 4 and 3, and then they fused 3, 4, and 5 for the second one. But it's just, like I said, the 4 became really, really popular in America, which is weird because I think 3 is a whole lot better, but that's a whole other story.
Okay. Kerry.
Yeah, so I'm new to the series. I bought Persona 4 for PS2 probably like 2017, 2018. I played about 25 hours into it very slowly over the course of like 2 years. And then when the Persona 4 Golden came to Steam in 2020, I sold my PS2 copy for double the price of Persona 4 Golden on Steam and bought it on Steam and then replayed it. But this is my first Persona game. I've played one of the SMT games, one of the spin-offs, Digital Devil Survivor 2 for the DS. And otherwise I have no experience in the series at all. And then I did want to mention, I'm a high school teacher and I have 2 students who are like 2 of my favorite students who sit together, a guy and a girl, and they're both super Persona heads. And they've just been excitedly coming up to me like, so did you beat the game yet? I'm like, no, I was really busy this week. So I finally came and I was like, yeah, I beat it. And they want to know everything. They want to talk about it nonstop. And one of them is a non-binary and they wear I called them a girl, I apologize, but they wear a Persona 3 shirt every day, basically. Like they just have like one Persona 3 shirt they wear 5 days a week. And then they have their lanyard with their ID just has Persona 3 character pins. So I think I know which one is their favorite. And then the guy, he said Persona 4 is his favorite of this series, but he he says he goes back and forth on 3 and 4. So I'm sure. And I actually just started Persona 5 Royal a couple of days ago, and I was blown away by it. So I'm looking forward to playing that. And then 3 Reload is on my near future to-do list, but because I was blown away by this game.
I was too a bit with Golden. I really want to play 3 or 5, but who knows? And Nate.
I joined Persona super late. I bought Persona 3 on the PlayStation 3, like classics, and played a little bit of that. And then when I got a Vita, pretty much the only game I owned that was Vita-centric was Persona 4. And I played through Kanji's Dungeon and then quit because I was very bad at it. And I got super anxiety about like hanging out with people outside, like in the game and in real life too, really. But yeah, so I was like, I don't want to hang out with the wrong people and screw myself over and not be able to beat the game because, I wanted to hang out with Kanji and not Chie because Chie's voice is not good in this one.
It. No, stop it. Do not say anything bad about Chie.
We're going to have a lot of odds and ends in this goddamn episode, aren't we? 3-hour episode.
And then I quit playing for reasons unknown. Who knows? And so when Mike said he was doing this, I was like, hell yeah, I'll beat this game finally. And I will tell you how I feel about it.
Okay. See, I'm always happy to make people play games that they might have had on their backlog just sitting there, and this gives you that extra incentive to finally do it. I mean, that is one reason why this show was created. So
yeah, that's 4 years that it sat in my Steam library, slowly getting played like 5 hours at a time, 5 hours once every 3 or 4 months. So I'm glad I finally sat down and beat it, because I'd say it's like my 4th favorite RPG, or JRPG anyway.
All right, that's impressive. And Colby.
I slept on this series for a long time because I'm a known disliker of JRPGs, and I got this on sale, like for a Golden Week sale for like $3 on the Vita or something. And I'm like, what the hell? I'll try this thing out. And I ended up being very charmed by it. I think one of the things that I like about it is like you can play it like a normal JRPG, like some of you freaks did, and like grind everything out and like min-max everything. But you can also play it like a life sim and like sort of do what you want. And I was like, this is perfect for me because I don't have to worry about stats and I don't have to worry about all this garbage that I usually hate in JRPGs. And like the slice of life stuff is fun. And I think I was able to put myself in the mindset of like being in high school again, and how I did talk to my friends and how we were like real shitheads back then. So like I totally get it. Like if this was a game about, 35-year-olds, these would be the worst people in the world. But it's a game about high school students, and like high school students are already the worst people in the world. So like I sort of get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's worse is I know exactly what you're getting at, and that's basically the plot for the new Yakuza. If you want adult Persona, just play like a dragon, and yes, they are shitheads.
Lovable shitheads.
I was a shithead in high school.
Yeah, everybody was a shithead in high school. Like,
I just say, I don't think most of these kids are shitheads. They're pretty cool. They're pretty nice. Other than there's like one of them.
I was probably a bit like Yusuke in high school, unfortunately.
Same.
When I grew up and became a better person. But
I was probably more like a Dachi.
You were murdering? You were throwing people in the TVs?
Yes.
Okay.
Spoilers.
Yeah, we already said that.
Are we going through? Are we going through and like telling everybody which character we are? Is that part of this?
No, I mean you can.
Because I'm Kanji, by the way.
I don't know. I mean, I was a leader.
He's my favorite
in high school, so I was the leader of the friend group. I was always the guy that organized stuff, and you can believe that I was the guy that organized events. Who would have thought?
I'm not gonna say that I hate these kids, but at least half of them are fucking boring. Actually, no,
I like the whole team.
I'm a liar. I fucking hate Teddy. Teddy's not real. I would take a crowbar to his ass.
I find Teddy very annoying most of the game.
Okay, Teddy's annoying, but
he grew on me over time a little bit, but mostly I didn't like him.
But he's also not human, so
yeah, he's not human. That's true.
It's kind of unbearable.
God, I'm leaving. Goddamn.
That was good. So I had posted a bunch about this game too, which I'll talk about more later. But like as I said in the thing, they said in the post, I really like these characters. I think pretty much all of them are great characters. I mean, Yusuke I did like, even though he is a homophobe and he gets annoying as hell later on. I still liked him, but I completely see why you guys hate him. Like it makes there's no. I mean, he's also the first character you get. But the whole idea of this game is that you're a transfer student that goes to a small town in Japan and you're gone for a year for some reason in the small town.
The game never explains why. You just spend a year living with your uncle.
No, they do. His parents are going abroad and they won't leave him home by himself.
Oh, that's what it was.
Oh,
okay. Oh.
Yeah, like the third line of dialogue.
Oh, okay.
Well, if you miss it, it doesn't. Like when the guy at the gas station asks you if you want a job and that never comes back.
Oh.
No, well, kind of.
Yeah, you can work at the gas station.
You can?
Yeah. You can work at the gas station.
I've only played this game 2.5 times, so yeah.
Now, did you get the golden ending, Mike?
I beat Marie's dungeon, but I didn't do the other dungeon you were talking about.
Oh, okay, so then you don't know the attendant you speak to at the beginning is the final villain of the game.
What?
Or not villain.
The final boss fight?
Yeah. It's the actual antagonist that's been doing things, except maybe not in the New Game Plus. There's more to it, but I'm not going to make it that far. I started the New Game Plus and I was like, I I have other stuff I'd rather play. As much as I love this game.
You tell me I have to actually play this fucking game and play New Game Plus because I didn't fucking know that. God damn it! I know.
I
right?
was watching
You can only get the New Game Plus if you get one of the 4 Marie endings. If that makes sense, or not one of the 4 Marie endings. If you don't get one of the 3 negative endings.
Okay.
Then it doesn't give you if you do one of the 3 endings that if you end the game in December, I should say, because of the 3 negative endings, only one is like actually like a bad ending. The other 2 are just like mediocre endings, but none of those 3 will let you go New Game Plus. You have to end the game in March or April to be able to do New Game Plus. But anyway, New Game Plus, you don't really get very much is the thing. It's not like a New Game Plus in a Dark Souls where you're just stomping through everything. The only thing you keep in New Game Plus really is your personal characteristics, like diligence and expression and stuff like that. Those stay the same. And then your money. But you lose all your items, all your personas, and you are back to level 1.
I thought you keep your personas.
No, you don't. What you keep is if you bank any personas in the Velvet Room, if there's like a way to bank. No, you can't bank personas. You can bank cards.
It's the compendium. You put them in the compendium.
You keep the compendium, right? Which what do you do with the? I've never used the compendium. So does the compendium let you like just pull personas out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just Anytime if you get a persona in a dungeon, it auto registers.
Right.
And then if that persona levels up, you should go back to the Velvet Room just whenever you get a moment and register them again because it'll keep like their highest level and stats and stuff in there. And then when you go to New Game Plus, you can just buy the personas back.
Oh, you have to spend like money?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you play with like earning more money like I did, you'll be flush with cash.
Oh, no, I played with the default. I played with the default settings, but that's interesting. Yeah, I never messed with the compendium, so I didn't even know I could do that, which is dumb of me. So yeah, I'm a New Game Plus. I'm like level 1 with all level 1 stuff, but I had like 300 yen, and it also keeps all your unlocks in the weapon shop, the blacksmith. So I just bought in-game weapons for like you're starting like 3 characters, like because you start. The first dungeon you play through, it's you, Yosuke, and Chie. And I just bought each of the 3 of us in-game weapon, and then that allowed us to just like go into combat and just press Y and let it just auto battle through. And I was able to go from new game to like starting new game to the end of Yukiko's dungeon in like an hour and 15 minutes. So it's not too bad, but it's not. Anyway, I'm just like, but I don't have time to play through this all again. But anyway, point is if you get the golden ending, you fight another boss, and it turns out it was the attendant at the gas station who like touches you on the shoulder, and then you're like lightheaded and think you have a fever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very innocuous. Didn't think about it. It's just like Naniko's like, "Are you okay, big bro?" And you're like, "I don't feel so good."
Well, that's in the normal ending of the original for Persona 4 Golden ending, anyways, which is weird.
Well, it's not. What do you mean? It's in the normal ending?
Yeah, in the Persona 4 like ending, like before the Golden came out, the one for PS2, like that was always a big reveal. I wonder if
in one of the March endings, yeah,
so,
right, because there's 3 base game endings in March, and then there's the Golden ending, which is only in Golden, right? Okay. Or is there only one March ending? But anyway, I know there's the 3 bad endings in December, and you don't see that in that.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I did not know that.
And that initial dungeon you go to where you get your first persona, where it's just you and you fight like the shadowy figure and you get your persona. Yeah. That is the dungeon that is the in-game dungeon that I was talking about.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But anyway, then in New Game Plus, you get to fight Margaret.
Oh.
I think Margaret uses the final persona from Persona 3 too. Like she uses.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, I think she uses or I might be thinking of the fighting game. I'm not 100% sure.
The games are Igor and the Velvet Room are in the different games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Margaret in the different games also?
No, it's always a different attendant. What is it?
But it's always Igor in the Velvet Room?
It's always Igor in the Velvet Room.
Oh, cool. I just started Royal, but I haven't gotten to the Velvet Room yet. I finished the little like tutorial, and then they're like, what happened? And it flashes back to the beginning of the year, and that's where I saved. So I've just barely got into it. But
the only downside is you'll miss Igor's soft, velvety voice. This was the last game that the guy was in before he passed, and his voice is very different in 5.
Yeah, I've heard it because he talks to you when you're unconscious after the police like knock you unconscious. You can hear him in your dreams. And I was like, is that supposed to be Igor? Because that's very different sounding.
It's very different.
Yeah, sound a lot.
Yeah.
God damn it! The music's the best part of this game.
It is, but
oh man. The
played
music
this
is
everywhere.
so good in it. Oh my gosh. And that was why like I played the last maybe so I finished it I think 97 hours is what I said in the chat. And I think the last maybe 35 or 40 hours of that I played with mods. It just never occurred to me to mod it. And I just played with mods that were like quality of life stuff. And one of them was having the base game intro music instead of the golden intro music. Is that base game song? Yeah, that one. Oh man, I love that song so much.
So I played this game the way that Colby was describing it earlier, where I put the game on very easy and I didn't have to grind. I didn't have to worry about anything. It really just became a dating sim, and I loved it for that.
No, my friend was like, "Isn't that just like a high school dating sim?" I'm like, "You date one person. You could potentially
you can
date more than one, but it's not a dating. It's a friendship sim. It's a high school life sim." And I think when you tell people it's a dating sim, they imagine that you're like going around here like fucking and stuff. But
no, that's called
like,
Exchange 2. Which I played it in high school.
Look, you can date all the girls. I think you can date all the girls in this game.
You can. The only negative thing that happens is on Valentine's Day, they get mad at you, as they should.
They all beat the shit out of you.
And Naoto doesn't like you. That's it.
Yeah.
From what I was hearing, those are the only things that are affected by it.
Well, I'm a one woman man. Yukiko had my heart. No one else could compare.
I couldn't.
It had an option for me to tell Rize to back the fuck off.
Damn, dude, you kick Yukiko. She's not even funny, bro.
I love
God
Yukiko.
damn.
Oh, she's so funny. I love her like
awful.
Her random like laughter, and everyone like thinks she's weird.
I want Yukio too, because I like Yukio.
Yeah.
I would have went Rise, but I didn't have Rise yet at the time, so.
Rize, Mike.
I like Rise. I like Chie. I like Naoto, but that Naoto fucking the day option's really fucking awful. And we'll talk about that later.
So I love Naoto too, and I was thinking about like if I was all right. Disclaimer: I'm a high school teacher and I'm 41 years old. But if I were in high school, Naoto is the one that I would have been interested in from the beginning.
That is the point of this game, is that we are all pretending to be a Japanese boy, not a whatever age we are man.
Yes, exactly. So Naoto is the one I would actually be interested in now, as if my personality now, but I was a teenager. But when I was a teenager, it would have been Yukiko. That was the kind of girl I was interested in when I was actually a teenager.
Probably me too, because I would have went after someone that was more shy. Rize would have been too...
Yeah, shy and incredibly everyone talks about being beautiful. Like I'm saying like she's supposed to be like super pretty. Rize would have been one that I would like, think about, but I would also not like as a person, and I don't like her. I fucking hate Rize, to be totally honest. I do like her I like her character arc. I like her character arc, but I just dislike her as a person. And she keeps calling Kanji Morangi, and I'm like, listen here, little miss. Kanji is a treasure. You leave him alone.
I never did any social links with Kanji because I never saw him.
Oh, Kanji, he was probably my favorite character in the game.
So
I think
we could probably go over that a little bit just because it's story wise. At some point, whenever we get a little deeper in the story, we can go through all their social links, because all of them are equally interesting and goes around their weird, essentially what their boss fights were.
We could go through them like in the order you come across them if y'all wanted.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. Like the first one is you fight Well, first you have Yusuke who joins your team, and he's the first one that when you go into the shadow world. Well, I guess I'll do a quick story intro, like how the game is. Like the whole idea is that there's these murders happening in your town. 2 murders happen pretty close together. And then that leads you to start investigating. Then you realize you can stick your hand into a TV. Then you stick your whole face into a TV, which I'm pretty sure is a reference to Poltergeist when he ties the rope around him and goes inside. Yeah. Even though I've never seen that movie, by the way.
It is. And also the nature of the murders, like the bodies are found with no wounds. They're just dead, hanging from TV antennas.
And, of course, the worst thing of it all is your dad uncle happens to be the head detective doing these cases. Because, of course, you live in a small hobunk town that has, only 2 detectives.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be more, right? It wasn't just them.
There's police officers in uniforms, but the only people they show in suits acting like detectives are Dojima and Adachi. Who Adachi is his helper, but he's also a detective. They call him Detective Adachi at one point.
Sure he is.
I mean, there might be others, but those are the only ones you see. It is supposed to be a smallish town, though. You're near a big town. You're near. What is the name of the city you're nearby?
The
town you're in is Inaba. Well, you're in Inaba, right? What is the town you're near?
Okinawa.
I don't remember either.
That's what I would. I can't remember. I went there.
Yeah, I went there a bunch. It's where you go to the movie theater. Well, anyway.
I do like that whole idea of like what.
Hello?
Okay. Yep.
Oh.
I unplugged myself for a second because my USB ports are not great. So as I was saying, I like the idea with the whole like how you become investigating, and it's cool that it's such a bizarre murder that the police can't figure it out, and that's what leads to this. Like I mean, this is not a horror game, but it was close enough of a horror RPG for me to want to put on the show for episode 300. That's why this is here.
And for October, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close enough. I mean, there are people getting murdered. You fight
October game. Yeah, no, I think it's got some horror elements to it for sure.
You fight stuff that fits. Like I remember when I first played this game a little bit later, but when you get to Chie's boss fight and it's like a dominatrix, and I was like, okay, I like this game. Like I'm in.
Yeah.
I love
Mike was
monsters.
scare-roused.
Mike was.
That's the best kind.
Mike was like, okay, I'm in. I'm bored. I know it has more meaning now that I didn't catch because I was watching a 2-hour full breakdown of this game with all the social links. Unfortunately, I didn't finish it, but I was trying to. This game, there's a lot, and time got ahead of me. But so I was saying, like, Yusuke, you go into the world because of Yusuke, and he joins you because the second murder is a high school friend that he had a crush on, and I think that plays. Yeah. I mean, it plays a big part in the whole story, but it's also nice that like they all have a reason to why they're joining. They all have a reason that lands them in this investigation and lands them on your team and why they become friends with you. And I think it's such a cool idea that there's a group of friends are trying to investigate murders and kidnappings and how they all have powers, but they also get to be friends and get to do this together. Like,
yeah,
I mean, this is what I would want. I wouldn't want to go into a TV world.
It's very much a power of friendship kind of game, and I love that stuff. I love seeing these kids supporting each other and being, for the most part, being supportive of each other.
I too also miss being in high school and not having actual responsibilities and just wondering, oh man, I wonder what my little sister left in the fridge for me to eat today.
Yeah.
What's that? Life without responsibilities? Never heard of that.
Yeah, I wish I could have made money by folding envelopes in my bedroom.
Oh, that is a thing, isn't it? God damn it.
Yeah. And making cranes, I think, too, right?
Yeah,
or
you can do origami cranes and envelopes to increase your diligence.
Hey, to be fair, when I was in high school, I put little red and black wires together into a little piece of plastic and got paid cents for doing it.
Oh, nice.
At one point, that's how I bought the bouncer. So
damn.
It was a friend of mine worked at some factory place, and he would bring home like a big bucket full of these things. He's like, "Oh, here you go," and then we'd have to keep track of how many we made. Then we get paid eventually. Keyword was eventually. But the whole thing with Yusuke, like Yusuke's okay at first. He's just a kid that's also from there, that's not from the area, who moved just like you did to this town because his dad is a manager of the Junes, which is like a Walmart essentially.
Yeah, Junes is like Walmart, and it's similar. It's actually interesting if you've played Stardew Valley.
Oh, yeah.
This is like this. So Stardew Valley is not Japanese, but it's very informed by Japanese games and anime, even though it's not. It's an American game. Well, he's American, right? Is he American or British? Anyway, I think he's American. But in that, they have, what is it called in that? It's Jojo Mart.
Is it Jojo Mart?
It's Jojo Mart. And that's like a theme you see in a lot of anime, is this idea of like the small town and the big box store comes in. And that's because that's like, where we kind of, that was like a big thing in the like 70s and 80s in America with Walmart coming in and destroying the middle class. That was more of a thing in like the late 90s in Japan. And so there's a lot of anxiety about that you see and then in anime and games like this and stuff, which I don't get the feeling they don't really pull that angle of it as much in this one, so much as he has that kind of anxiety about working there. But it's not clear why he's so anxious about it.
I mean, this Walmart also has multiple little places to eat outside and stuff. So
yeah, it's like a really nice store. And I was gonna say, Yosuke also, I loved him for the first 20 hours of the game that I played. It was once I think that he actually, if you could ignore that one extremely glaring personality flaw that I can't ignore, he actually throughout the whole game is a very likable character for me, for the most part. It's that one thing, but he just won't stop with it.
Yeah,
and we can say it. He's very homophobic and gay panicky about one of the characters. Yeah, and it's very frustrating.
It's really funny too, and I don't know if maybe they put it in there intentionally, because I don't know if it's bad, because a lot of times whenever these games come out, they're redubbed in English, so Yosuke may not be as homophobic in the Japanese dub. I really couldn't tell you because maybe they thought it'd be a funny American thing. What's even funnier is originally in this game with Yosuke's social link. Really, what Yosuke's social link is whenever you fight his boss and you meet it, he's like, oh, you're only here because you want to be a hero, and then you go through Yosuke's social link, and part of it's like, well, yeah, he's kind of a depressed kid because his dad became a manager, and then he basically feels like if he goes to school, everyone fucking hates him, which they do because his dad. It's like I'm not responsible. I'm just the manager's kid. It's not even my dad's fault that fucking Walmart's fucking blowing away everyone's businesses. Like, why the fuck is it my fault? And I like his social link because it really is kind of a thing where he's like, I'm suffering, but I didn't realize that shouldn't matter because at the end of the day, for all I know, who gives a shit in a couple years? But even funnier, originally Yosuke was supposed to be the only gay social link in the game. Like there's audio in the files.
Mods that restore it.
Yeah, there's mods that restore it where you can tell Yosuke at the end of his social link that you love him, and he'll tell you he loved you back, and it's just really gay. And they're just like, no, we had to cut it. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's a real missed opportunity because I honestly get the impression from him that he's closeted at sometimes. Some of the ways that he acts, especially with some of the gay panicky stuff, it's a little don't protest too much to me.
Yeah, and that was one of the things where I was like, when I was trying to remember back, put myself in that mindset of a high school kid, like that happened a lot, especially like back then.
Yeah, I went to high school in the 90s.
Yeah,
and absolutely, I would have been exactly the same way back then.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like not that it excuses it, but I can understand having been that way, especially if this game, based on the flip phones and stuff, this game feels like it's set in the like very late, like the very early 2000s.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was trying to keep in mind while I was playing that. Like I said, like Kanji and Yosuke and all of those guys, like that was just how it worked. This game, if it came out in, what did you say, 2008?
Yeah.
Like, so it was written, it was probably written in 2003.
Right.
By the time it gets made and voiced and all that stuff. So
12 years before gay marriage became legal in the United States.
Yeah, it was a bad time, man.
I don't remember a lot of my high school. I graduated in 06, but I remember being I was a shit when it came to like things like that. I remember dumb comments that I would never make again in my life. And
we said all sorts of stuff when I graduated in 01, and we said all sorts of like homophobic stuff as like a joke.
Yep.
All the time. And then I realized, I had friends that were gay. I didn't realize it. Well, of course they can't be out because everybody's an asshole about it. And of course now it's very different, but it's not completely different. I can say and it depends on where you're at. Like, teaching high school, and I teach in, a large city in a large town that is extremely Trumpy in Texas. And I'll standing in the hallway, I'll see 20 lesbian couples in a day walking hand in hand. I have yet to see a gay couple, 2 guys.
Yeah, it's
in the 18 years I've been teaching. I've seen one about 15 years ago, actually.
I think, especially in a place that's more conservative like that. Like, this is on top, but kind of on top. Friend of mine, friend of the show, we're actually on the show quite sometimes, Joseph Larry, he had posted in the Discord, join our Discord, about somebody, he was walking his dog and somebody was yelling at him and called him a communist and gay because he had an English bulldog terrier, not an American bulldog terrier.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the fuck, people? Like, what is a fucking dog? Like, how do you even?
So weird.
But he also had certain signs on the back of his truck to let everyone know he was an idiot. So, that start with a T. So that definitely does work.
So I think given I want to be a little kinder. I tend to just be like, fuck Yosuke a lot because of that stuff. But honestly, I was like, oh yeah, Yosuke, you're my dumb little buddy. I got you, buddy.
I do like that the first person that you go to rescue is that Yukio gets kidnapped, which is what brings Yusuke and then also Chie, who's the second person that joins you. And they don't have a dungeon for her, which is fine. They just have it where you fight her persona, which is the dominatrix one that got me like, okay, I'm in. But I also really like Chie.
Yeah, I love Chie. Like,
I never romanced her just because I go for Yukio.
Well, the thing is I thought about it. I was like, all right, for a New Game Plus, who do I romance? Because I hate Rize, and I really like Naoto. But Naoto doesn't show up until like 40 hours into the game, which would be less than New Game Plus, but still. But Chie, I feel like I'd be dating my sister. Like, she's just my buddy.
Oh, see, that's what I like about Chie. like not all of your stuff is going to be romantic stuff. So you got to be somebody that you can just pal around with
and watch kung fu movies with.
Yeah. Chie is like, again, not as 45-year-old me, but like high school me. Chie would have like been my friend, and if she would have been into it, she would have been my girlfriend.
Oh,
and
same.
That's, how I like to, pick my romantic partners as well. Like, you gotta be fun to be around when we're not doing romantic partner stuff. And that was like my whole thought behind, like, nobody else in this game was quite like that. And she was like loyal to the end.
It's funny you say that because my wife is very much like Yukiko. Very, very beautiful, like out of my league, beautiful. In high school, I had a crush on her, but she was way out of my league, but also super shy. So it's kind of funny what you said there. It was like, but yeah, Chie is great. I love Chie. She's one of my favorite characters. She's probably my second favorite person in the game, honestly. Her voice is a little high pitched.
Yeah, well, that's why.
Well, I don't know, high pitched. It's got like it can be a little. I can see how it could be a little grating for people.
Her arc is really good too.
The Japanese voice is much better, but also Chie is so great that her voice doesn't matter.
I had no problem with any of the voices, but then again, I didn't hear voices at all.
And I'll say Chie stayed in my party. I never had her out of my party the whole game. Once she joins in that first dungeon, I never I never took her out of my party the whole game.
Same.
She late game super high damage too.
Oh god, yeah. But I have an issue in RPGs where whoever the first 4 people I get are, you're my team forever.
Oh yeah.
I do that, especially in games where they don't level.
I get that. My party was made up of 4 of the first 5 people, so
mine was Chie, Yusuke, and Yukio.
I was Chie, Yukiko, and Kanji the whole game. So Nate, never used anyone else actually. Other than Yosuke, you have to use it first. But
yeah. So Nate, who did you have a crush on in this game?
Dojima.
Dojima.
All right. So I like to say I'm like 10% gay. If I'm 10% gay, that 10% is for Dojima. He is a sexy daddy.
It's okay. It gets gayer. I'll get into that later though. One thing that I also like to talk about these games always have really specific themes, obviously. But the one thing is that the themes also go with the personas. Persona 3 is mainly about death, which is also implied because you shoot yourself in the head to summon a persona. This game, This game was one of the big complaints people had about this game whenever it came out was that people felt like it was toned down a lot because they wanted more people in America to play it, which did happen because, like I said, this game did become really popular amongst people. But the main thing is so Persona 4 is about death, and the main character's persona is Orpheus. So all the other characters' personas are all based off of Greek mythology. Mm-hmm. And then so you go into this one, which is more of a, you're in the middle of the country in Japan. And so with the main character having Izanagi as his persona, all the other personas that the main cast have are all Japanese mythic based and story based. To which then Persona 5 goes into, since you're Phantom Thieves, everyone's personas are all based off of thief legend, stuff like that.
Oh,
okay. I also know there's a reference to Phantom Thief in this, which I didn't see because I didn't do any of Nato's social link. Yeah. I know there's a reference to it in there, which I thought was cool.
Oh well, Nato's also one thing that with Nato's social link is she talks about how she's like from the bloodline of like a famous detective house. You can actually play that. It's actually a Shin Megami Tensei game. I looked it up earlier and I'm posting in the chat now. But that's in
awesome.
Fact, yeah, that's
the first devil. Devil Summoner 2. Oh, okay.
Devil Summoner 2. The main character is the ancestor of Naoto.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, they look alike. They wear the same outfit and everything.
I've never played any of the series, unfortunately, other than this game. I want to. I just never got around to it yet.
They're unbearably hard. They don't have any of this like. It's funny. They don't have any of the high school simulator or any of that charm. It's all just getting your ass beat for like fucking 80 hours straight. I wouldn't recommend it unless you're really into it.
That was definitely how I felt about Digital Devil Survivor 2. I was like, I didn't get very far in it because I was like, this is just brutal.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
You also have to bribe the personas to join you.
Yeah, demons, whatever.
Oh, and then Yukio, so that's kind of how it starts out. And I like how each dungeon of each person that's kidnapped is very based. The whole idea is that as you go into the shadowy world is that you end up having to face your other self, essentially your negative feeling that you try to hide back of each
you're
person.
facing your true self.
Yeah, we all have them. We all have negative things about us. We all have things, especially in high school.
I think the dungeon evils it up just a little bit, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, because it's the shadow is like feeding on your suppressed self, basically, and taking form. Which is as it turns out that I'm trying to think of what that final boss of the golden ending is.
It's Izanami.
Izanami, right? That's like her whole thing. Is her goal was to her?
Yeah, her.
I guess. Yeah.
It's a her.
Goal was to kind of force people to face like who they really were, essentially. And so it's like it's not even clear if it's it is bad because like people are dying, but like the goal was to force people to face their true selves. Look, and that's kind of the theme of the game, you know?
So she was the one that created that why there's a door between these two worlds, and right?
Yeah, and she also made sure that she allowed you to like access your persona so that you could get involved.
Who is she? Like, is she in the game?
Yeah, she's the gas station attendant.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was a woman.
Yeah. Well, it's not. They have like it honestly it looks like a young Margaret to me.
It's you're not supposed to realize it, but it's even funnier because when I think in the beginning of the game, you talk to the gas station attendant, their voice is completely different from the end of the game. And even then, what's even funnier too is when you first talk to the gas station attendant, they have a normal speaking voice. So like if you talk to an NPC, there's no character arc, but like you talk to Dojima or Nanako, they have character art. She gets character art at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny that it's revealed that they're the bad guy, and it goes a little further than that, and I'll get into that whenever we get to it.
Okay. Like Yukio's dungeon, the whole idea for her after she gets thrown into the TV world is that she's looking for her Prince Charming, which I also like that her whole her persona that you finally fight is a bird and with a bird cage because she's trying to come out of her cage essentially.
Right. She feels like she's being put in a cage by her family obligations because her family expects her to take over the family business.
Yeah. So I might be the only person, but every time I see a bird cage, one game in particular comes to mind.
Is it fucking BioShock?
It is BioShock Infinite. I think of Elizabeth every time. I really like Elizabeth, by the way. So.
BioShock Infinite is great, and anyone who tells you that it's not is wrong.
I didn't enjoy the gameplay when I played it, but it's a 3-hour episode. I don't need to go any farther. But I like Elizabeth a lot. Like, I don't know what it is about that character, but yeah, every time I see a birdcage, a good friend of mine, she has a birdcage tattoo on her back with a bird escaping. I'm like, yeah, that reminds me of BioShock Infinite. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I know. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
But that's just what came to my mind here. I like Yukio's dungeon. I like Yukio a lot, so much. She's a great character to me.
Yeah, I liked her a lot too. Like I said, I mean, obviously I romanced her, but
same.
Yeah, and I like her character arc of her. Yeah, me either. I like her character arc of kind of like, you know, she's trying to run away from this family obligation, and then she discovers she doesn't have to do what her family wants her to do. Then she kind of decides that's what she wants to do anyway.
Weird.
I wouldn't say weird. I mean,
no, I think it's a very childish idea of like I have to get away from my parents. I can't be anything like them. I have to leave my home. And that's fine. Fair. I don't mean to say like childish, but it is a childish, and then there can be good reasons for it, and it can be very good to get away from it. But ultimately, your reasons for what you decide to do should be for you, not because even if you're trying to reject them, you're still making it about them, if that makes sense.
It does.
It makes sense.
And I don't know. I grew up in kind of like a bad, abusive situation, and I hated this town, and I left, and I was like, I'm never coming back. And then I ended up coming back, and my wife felt the same way, and we ended up living here, and now we both teach at the high school that we graduated from, you know.
That's cool.
And we live in her grandma's house. We bought her grandma's house, which is like 2 streets over from where she grew up. And it's like, it's come full circle. The like 18-year-old me was like, fuck this town, I can't wait to get out of here. And then 41-year-old me is like, fuck this town and this state, but I'm going to stay anyway. You know, why should I leave? They're the ones that suck, you know, is the way I look at it.
Look, you want a really big slap in the face, have everything everyone's ever done. 15-year-old me was like, I'd never be gay, and now I'm 30, gay with a husband and 2 gay equally gay dogs. It happens, you know.
The dog part I just love.
They're very gay dogs. I don't know why. I know why.
Good for them.
But this game it keeps you engaged. The story is so well done. It's easy, like as you rescue Yukio, and then the game also does a good job, especially if you're playing this on very easy, like I was, where you don't have to worry about money and grinding and nothing like that, because you just get it all fed to you, shoved in your mouth, and you're wonderful to get good to go. It made the game so much more playable, where I could just run it as a dating sim. I didn't have to worry about. I could just do all the social links I wanted to.
Yeah, I played it. I played it on normal, and I still I never grinded the whole game. And I was talking about like the last boss being hard, and I don't remember who it was in the chat was like, "Well, it should be easy as long as you're level 99." I'm like, "Well, no, I'm like level 70."
Yeah,
That was me. You should just be level 99.
yeah, I was gonna say.
But even then, level 99, like I couldn't just like blank out battles. Like I still had to strategize and be I need to like knock them down. And then, like at one point I got rid of like all of my buff debuff attacks and just went like for skills and passives. And then I had to buy skill cards to give myself buff debuffs because I was still getting like rocked sometimes with boss battles. I was like, oh no, that's not good.
Yeah,
we should talk like the mechanics, the combat mechanics of this game are really cool. And I guess I know it's the same in Digital Devil Survivor, so I assume it's a Shin Megami Tensei thing.
Yeah.
Is that right? It's very similar if anyone's ever played Octopath Traveler. It's this or Bravely Default. It's the same idea of where enemies have there's like different affinities, right? Like elements and so on. And you don't know what an enemy is going to be strong or weak against until you attack them with it. And it, either, is super effective or not that effective or neutral, or it's blocked entirely, or it's reflected or absorbed. And then from then on, that, and you can scan them, you can do analyze, and it shows what you've learned about them. And I love that. Like, I love Bravely Default. I love the Octopath Traveler games. I love that whole combat idea of learning through experimentation, and then not having to just memorize it. I don't have to remember, because you can't, because there's a lot of like recycled art with the enemies. Not exactly recycled, but you'll see very similar enemies with like a palette swap later on. Yeah. And they might be completely different affinities. So it doesn't, so it's good that you have that little analyze button that you can always use, and it doesn't take up a turn. You don't have to like scan or something like in a Final Fantasy game.
No, it's nice. It's also as Rize
it's really good.
Gets better as the game progresses.
Oh, right.
And gets more abilities. It makes
exactly. That was why I worked on Rize's social link, even though I didn't like her, because like she gets better. She starts off. Once you get to like level 5, she starts off every battle telling you one of their weaknesses or strengths, and then which often it was one I already knew, and it was annoying, but still.
And then after you rescue Yukio, like there's some time that passes, but the second dungeon you go to is Kanji, which I didn't use Kanji at all. Because he came too late. But Colby, you want to talk about Kanji's dungeon and stuff?
Go for it.
Oh, like, I don't know. The thing about this game was I didn't really care about most of the like gameplay stuff. I was playing on normal, but like I wasn't like really invested in any of it. I can I tell you that my main thing once it happened, my main thing was Nanako. Like, I just wanted her to be happy. Like when you find out about her like whole sort of deal, I just wanted her to be happy. And then like, I didn't care about anything else. Everything that I did was just focused on making sure that Nanako was okay. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Nanako's got such a hard situation. You just feel for her from the very first moment.
So I don't mind going at it a little bit, just because it kind of plays out later, and I don't want to either skip over to go over whatever. The two social links I want to get off base off, just because they're kind of there and they're important to the story themselves, but whatever, is Dojima and Nanako's social links, which are both. I don't remember Nanako's very well, unless I'm just remembering both of them at the same time. I just remember.
Cole died. So.
Okay, yeah. So you basically found out that like Dojima's a cop who overworks, and Nanako just wants her dad home, and then you end up finding out the reason why he works so much is because like his wife has like a hit and run, or is involved in a hit and run, and she dies, and he's like, I think to the day where you're even there, he still hasn't figured out who killed his wife, and I think at the end of his social link is just like him coming to terms with like, I guess maybe I'll just never figure it out, but I need to let it go because I have a sweet, precious child at home who needs to be taken care of.
Who's having to be a little adult even though she's like 8.
God, yeah.
She's like staying at home by herself without her dad. She's answering the door, taking packages, making dinner.
Making his dinner.
She's like a little adult, and it is something that I'll say as a teacher I see all the damn time of these kids who have to be adults because their parents can't get their shit together. And I spent a lot of the game being like, Dojima, stop being a fucking deadbeat. Come home and take care of your daughter.
But it's not a deadbeat. He's working.
He is working. Yeah, it'd be different.
Being sarcastic, so those that don't catch that, like I get it, but at the same time,
no, Nanako must be protected. I love Nanako so much, and
I cared about Nanako so much that for when I was playing this back on Vita, I was convinced that Judes, like as the corporation, was the villain. I was like, there, because she was like, "Oh, I love Junes. Junes every day is great at your Junes." I was like, "Yeah, they're kidnapping people and putting them in the TV department. Like that's what's going on." Like,
it is a little bit of a red herring how she's like singing the Junes theme song. It's like this is kind of creepy.
Yeah, and I was like, and they're gonna take this little girl, and then that's when we're gonna be like, "Oh no, Junes is evil."
It's always
I think what it is that she's being raised by the TV because her dad's never there.
But it is always right to assume that the big corporation is the villain.
Yes.
Like, that's always a correct assumption.
They're surely the villain anyway, to some extent.
Yeah.
Like a Sam Walton wannabe. Be like, I'm doing it for the bottom line. And be like, that's not good.
As a guy who used to work at that corporation, they do have pictures of Sam Walton just around for you.
Oh, yeah, I know.
To know who your god is.
Yeah.
Also, before I forget to... I think it's funny that Nate mentioned that, and later on, Nanako does. Spoilers for later on, but Nanako does get kidnapped, and he's like, "Oh God, did I call it?" It's like, no, but that's a pretty funny idea though. But one thing, speaking of gameplay too, before I totally forget, this game also had quality of life updates and changes. One thing is the all-out attack became more cartoony. Originally, it was a lot more violent in 3. This one, it kind of makes it like a cartoon, like pile up. But in Persona 3, both 3 and FES, you could not control your other party members. So you would just hope to God that Junpei would remember that the enemy's weak to fire. And for PS2 AI, as a guy who played FES, those AIs were bright like 90% of the time, and thank God they were.
I wouldn't like that.
Could you?
Oh, I would hate that. Oh,
in the PS2 version, could you control?
Yes, in so
4? Oh, nice. That's cool.
So one thing that they did is in Persona 4 2 original, you had to go into their menu first. So whenever you started the battle up, you would have to go to the character and be like, "Hey, I'm going to give you specific attacks," and they'd be like, "Okay." I think Golden had another quality of life update where you can just go into the menu as soon as the game boots up, or in general, and just be like, "Yes, I want to control all my characters."
It does. When you start a game in Golden, it just asks you, "Do you want to control or not?" But yeah, I played on PS2. The first battle, I was like, "Oh wait, I don't get to control these characters." And then you get out of the battle, and Teddy's like, "Hey, just FYI, if you want to control the characters, just press this button." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
It was nice that I wouldn't like not having control of them. I
would hate not being able to control them. I guess you can't even issue. I was going to say Mass Effect 1 is that way, but you can at least issue an order.
Oh my God. I totally played this with those fools doing their own thing. Like,
oh God.
I would have hated.
Were they good at it?
Playing it, having to do everybody's battle.
Oh.
Hey, so you pull the mic. Like Albertin. I don't like JRPGs. So the less of that combat that I had to do, the better. So yes, I did pull an Albertin and I played this game wrong, but I think enjoyed it playing it wrong.
I think that's a good way to play it. Probably. It's just not. I think that's the way to play it if you don't like RPGs.
Yeah, it's more of just funny to me because like one of the things that I'm good at is missing something completely.
Yeah.
Also, even funnier reference that I know specifically one person's gonna get. I think Nate'll probably get it too. So Colby, since you've been doing all that stuff, how do you enjoy seeing a game about high school kids summoning their stands?
Love it.
I get that specifically from being on podcasts with Colby.
Yeah,
it actually infuriates me that every JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game is like a fighting game. Like just make it Persona.
They could make a Persona. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And there's
but
only one good fighting game of JoJo anyway.
there's two.
Is that the most recent one that came out?
No.
Oh, dang.
It's it's a PlayStation 1. It's a Capcom fighter. It just plays like Street Fighter 3.
Oh, okay.
And it's sprites instead of like, models. And
On my
it's
computer.
fantastic.
But yeah.
Well, so Kanji's dungeon is a bathhouse.
Yeah, I like Kanji. Is Kanji's character supposed to be gay, or is he just?
Well, that's the thing, is he's very clearly gay, and then they're like, no, he's just he thinks he's gay because he likes some
things that are
traditionally
considered
feminine things, right?
Well,
which
like
is
so.
fine, but it felt like that was clearly he was supposed to be gay, and they like pulled back from it.
Okay.
Well, the other thing too is what it is as well. 'Cause like I said, that the Shadow World kind of overdoes it, and I think they did pull back as well. But the whole concept behind Kanji's fucked up dungeon is, like I said, I think Mike said he missed it. Kanji's whole social link. The whole concept with him is just like, oh yeah, a lot of people say I'm gay because I believe his family works at a textile shop, which is like it's a fabric store, and so everyone's like, oh, you work for a shop that specifically women work in, you obviously must be feminine, and that's where his whole issues come from. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, dumbasses do think that. So
yes.
I mean, it's not true in any shape or form.
He was probably my favorite character, and his social link is really good. Like at the end of the game, he is teaching a crafting class at the when you come back from like when you come back during summer vacation, he's teaching a crafting class at the textile shop, teaching people how to do like handicrafts with the cloth and stuff, because he's actually really good at it. And he has like a really good arc. So I'm completely fine with the arc they went with, but it felt like what they actually wanted to do was have him confront that he's actually gay.
Mm-hmm.
But
I thought he was until this most recent playthrough, and I'm like, or actually the YouTube video.
Well, so does Yosuke. So
yeah, so do I. And again, that's my self-insert is Kanji. So, and like I overcompensated for that stuff in high school by, dressing like that and, talking more shit than I should have. And like, I totally get it. So yeah, Kanji's gay. Like, fuck you.
Did you beat up any biker gangs, Colby, when you were younger?
What's that?
Did you beat up
any biker gangs?
Just the one time. No, but I did get into way more fights than I wanted to.
Never been into a fight, actually. Not really.
Well, I've been 6'1", 250 since like the 8th grade. So like high school was sort of like prison for me, where if people wanted to like prove that they were tough, I was the biggest guy in the yard.
Okay.
Also, want to point out one other thing is Kanji is a first year student, so he is a high school freshman.
Oh,
he's supposed to be 15 years old, 14 or 15 years old.
It's a terrible time.
He's 15. They have 3 years there. I think their elementary school's like 6 years, so their middle school's 3 and their high school's 3. So he's like 15.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so he's the equivalent, I guess, a high school sophomore. Then would be more like it.
That's still a terrible year.
Yeah. And you and Chie and Yukiko and Yosuke are all second years, and then that first murder victim is third year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first one
second,
is the reporter, and then
the second one is the first kid that dies is a third year, a senior. But I was trying to think of, and then Rize is a first year, and then I don't remember if Naoto is first year or not.
I think Naoto's first year too, because she's not in the class with you.
Yeah, she's in the same grade.
She is. I just looked it up. She's first year.
Okay.
She's in the game. She's in the same grade as
Rize
as Kanji.
And Kanji, yeah.
I never found. Yeah. So where is Kanji in the town? Because I never saw him to do anything.
He hangs out in front of it. He hangs out in front of his family store sometimes, and then otherwise he's in the high school on the second floor
of the
classroom building. Because that's where
in town a lot.
Yeah, he's in town a lot. But the first year, so if you actually the layout of the school, the classroom building. The first floor that you're on is the second years. Or no, I'm sorry. You're on the second floor. No, you're on the first floor. Anyway,
you're on the second floor.
Okay, well, he's on the second floor also, but he's on the other side from your classroom. He's on the side that the second years are on. That's right.
I wonder if
first years are on one side and you're on the second year side.
I never saw him.
Yeah, he's usually. I have a chart that I found online for social links.
Which I should have used.
Where where it tells you where they'll be at different times. But that's what I loved about the mod pack, that like the Persona 4 Golden Enhancement Suite mod. It just adds quality of life stuff. It doesn't make the game easier, it just makes it, better. And one of the things it does is it adds to if you're playing on PC, that I'm using an Xbox controller, the X button normally lets you go, like it pulls up like go to town or go home. It adds an option of spend time with, and then you click on that, and anyone who's available, it has them, and you click on them, and it just teleports you to wherever they can normally be found. So that's really useful for then I don't have to go look up a chart and see where, what days is Kanji available. I can just, if he pops up as being available, then I can just go to where he's at. But yeah, he hangs out in front of the textile shop, which is right past the shrine.
Okay, I missed him. Unfortunately, I never saw him. I didn't do any of his social links at all because I also didn't go north enough. Yeah, I would go in to see if Marie was there.
He was the third person I maxed out after Chie and Yukiko.
I did.
I might have maxed out Nanako first. I don't remember. No, I did not.
You can't do this till later though. Like it kind of caps it to a certain point based on like you having to have a current expression.
Yeah, but yeah, Kanji's great. He has a great storyline. His whole deal, like you all were saying, is that he's Mr. Tough Guy because he's closeted, but according to the game, because he thinks that people think he's too feminine. And his social link is all about facing that and being okay with being quote unquote feminine.
It's early 2000. It's high school. I mean, yes, it's
it's completely understandable.
I don't know how Japan is. Is Japan more okay with someone being gay, or are they more closeted?
Oh, way worse.
No, yeah, they're way worse.
Like it's still like gay marriage is still illegal there. They're very not that we and it's people, it's a whole thing. There's like definitely a gay culture there, but yeah, though they tend to be socially a little more conservative than the United States even.
Yeah, it's because their whole deal is that they want people to have kids, and you can't have kids if you're gay.
Yeah, because they have negative population growth. Their population's declining.
You see, the way I look at it here is like we have enough fucking kids. There's enough fucking humans in this country. Like,
it's absolutely true for the United States, but yeah, for Japan, their population is shrinking. There's like a whole epidemic of you can go on like real estate sites and buy like a 5-bedroom house in Japan for like $500 because people are dying and they're just abandoning the houses because they don't have children to inherit them. But the houses are also like falling apart because of the humidity and so on. But it's a whole thing. Back when I used to still be on social media and I was on TikTok a lot. There's like a whole like TikTok subgenre of people that live in Japan fixing up these like old houses.
You also be surprised how many animes are just like, hey, this is about 2 characters raising a kid, or hey, this is about a character raising a kid, or the character now raises a kid halfway through the series, and it's like, yeah, that's just like have more children.
Propaganda.
And My Neighbor Totoro.
Okay.
And then someone shot Shinzo Abe with a gun, and then that happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Then after you finish, the next person gets added to, which is Rise, which I like Rise a lot. I didn't go after her in this game because I went to Yukio first because I was already maxing out Yukio by the time I got Rise. But I like Rise being this girl who becomes a pop idol and then wants to kind of give it up and just be a normal person and like having a hard time adjusting to that because people won't let it go. Like
I agree with that part of it. That is a great arc for her.
It is.
However, she is a little tart who will not take no for an answer. She just will not stop coming on to you and assuming that you must be into her no matter what you say to her. She just will not stop. And I don't know. I'm not a fan of the like
16-year-old Mike would have been all go.
Oh yeah, 16-year-old Kerry would have been super into that too. But as an adult, I'm just like, I don't like you. And also, she keeps calling Kanji Moranji, and that's not nice. She's being mean to Kanji. Kanji is not a moron.
Her arc, I think, is so good too as it goes on eventually with her social links. Like when you do finally max her out, she's just like, I want to be an idol again. Like I'm not, I'm gonna go back to it after this year is over. Like I like where everything goes. I love all the character growth in this game. I like it that she hits on you. Had I not maxed out Yukio, I would 100% have made her his girlfriend because it's like the game wants you to have her as your girlfriend. 100%. Like that's what the game is trying to do.
To give you a little, like, for instance, with the other girls, I don't think you can date them until you max them out, right?
No, it's close to.
Or it's
before
like
the next one,
9, I think. But you can date her. You can make her your girlfriend at like level 7.
Damn.
And her
Yeah,
arcana
really.
is the lover's arcana. Yeah, they really want you to be with her because she is very much the stereotypical hot Japanese girl. Well, except for she doesn't look Japanese, but she is very much like the stereotypical hot Barbie doll sex fantasy character. So
100%.
that's
I
what
mean,
they're pushing. But I actively rebel against that. So
hell, her dungeon is a freaking strip club. Like, I love her dungeon.
yeah.
The music, I did have the music on for that dungeon because I do remember the music in the background playing a few times, but I also kept muting this game constantly too. But I can't help myself.
I mean, I'm gonna say like the little anime cutscene where they first introduce her doing like a soda ad. I'm a fan. But
Hey, do you have anything to say about Rise?
Rise to me is what Shania Twain was to me when I was 13 years old.
Okay.
Okay.
That is fair.
But does Rise have her own theme park?
Like if Shania Twain came up to me in high school and was like, I'm just so done being a country singer, I'd be like, yeah, that sucks.
So we get into the story and we realize that the killer is getting more and more fucking bolder apparently as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as obviously also goes to a point where it's like, all right, so I have Rise. Let me look at the box art. I think we're close to beat.
We're missing one character. We only missing one now.
Well, no, after Rise,
I was gonna say we're skipping Mitsuo.
I was saying Teddy.
yeah, but Teddy,
Nobody cares
we haven't talked
about
about Teddy yet, but I mean he's quite of a bear to talk about. So
My
so-
Good
fun
Lord.
fact.
I tried.
Do all of the characters have a talking animal sidekick? Because I know Persona 5 has Morgana,
Yes,
Right.
Persona 3 you get a dog. The dog does not talk, but then you also get Igus.
and then we don't. None of us know anything about Persona 1 and 2. I'm guessing.
Oh, I know about Persona 1 and 2. They're very different games. They're more top-down RTS, and you still summon personas. The only other thing I remember about them, or I know about them, is that apparently you can summon Hitler in Persona 2, and in the English release, they had to change it to the Führer, and they put, like, sunglasses on him. It was...
kind of like Bionic Commando, but worse.
Yeah,
But
it was...
it's-
now you got me wanting to play it
you
even
kill
more.
Hitler, and this one it sounds like you use
You're
him.
best friends with him.
Yeah, it's really when you fight him, he becomes a summon. You can summon him in a battle. He uses
So what
the spear Glepnir.
I mean,
So,
to be
okay.
fair, they were kind of allies with Japan in the 40s. So hey,
Oh, yes.
I mean, they didn't do anything with them, to be honest. They were just allies. I mean, just like Italy actually fought with them, but Italy was more of we're just going to use you because you're stupid.
Do any of the older Persona games let you summon like Jesus?
I don't know what the themes of the other two Persona games are.
Well,
honestly.
if you can summon Hitler and fight with Hitler, I'm guessing that Jesus is the ultimate bad
Somewhere
guy.
in there.
Yeah. So you have to take down.
One of my favorite little things about Japan is that they treat Christianity in their popular culture. They treat Christianity the way we treat Greek mythology, which I think is just wonderful.
Oh, that's
That is wonderful.
awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love every JRPG where they're like, oh, turns out you're just fighting God now.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Like,
think
you
of what game it
kill
was
God,
where the
please.
final boss is Yahweh. What game was that?
Yahweh.
Yeah, like the
Oh,
God, like God of the Old Testament.
Nocturne. The Shimigami Tensei games are like that.
Yes, I think that's what it is. The first SMT, the final boss is Yahweh. It's God.
Yeah.
It's the God of the Bible, of the Old Testament.
Okay,
Yeah.
now I want to play this.
I
For
should
all of
play it.
Very
Yeah.
correctly.
All of them
Really
are like that.
deal with the religious trauma through Shin Megami Tensei.
Hey, I love games that cut down on Christianity, so because I got my own problems with it. So
Everybody
I-
needs to be taken down a pig.
I believe this is not a spoiler, so don't take everything I say seriously, things like that, blah blah blah. I am Joe Butler, do not take what I say seriously. I have not completely played or beaten Shin Megami Tensei 5, the new one that's out, where you play as a non-binary character. I do know all the bosses, I believe, are the archangels, and the whole point is that you have to go and sit in the seat of God and become the new God.
Oh,
that's awesome. I
well,
want to play
yeah,
it more.
All right.
sounds good.
Adding
I've got
that
it.
to the wish list.
I've got it sitting in my entertainment center, waiting to be played. But it's pretty far on the to-do list. But so yeah, I
is
like
it
what you said about you
around-
look.
I was sorry. I was just gonna say, is it around this time? Because I was hanging out with Adachi as well, and there's one social link where you go, like, he comes over to your house and you're helping Nanako do homework, and he's basically like, "Oh yeah, just cheat on the answers."
Ooh.
And you go like, "Well, I think Nanako should just figure out these problems on her own." And he laughs and goes, "You're no fun." Is it around this, like, when Mitsuo's dungeon is happening? I don't know if anyone else hung out with Adachi, but I want to say that's around the time where Adachi just kind of turns into kind of an asshole.
So I never hung out with Adachi ever. And I got the social link of Adachi, like level 1 social link. And I was like, hang out with Adachi? I don't hang out with Adachi. He's
Oh.
clearly the bad guy in this game.
It is very weird to hang out with him.
I did a few
All right.
until I couldn't find him.
So Adachi's social link is really terrifying because one thing that if you didn't know either, Adachi and the main character also share the same voice actor, Johnny Young Bosch.
Oh, Johnny Young
yeah.
Bosch is the. Oh.
Yep, Johnny Young Bosch is the voice of the main character in this, and he's also the voice of Adachi. They've shared the voice, which is also supposed to kind of hint there's something going on between the two of you, because he also summons a fake or different version of Izanagi. Adachi's social link, I believe you learned that his tie is from Dojima. And it's funny because you can also buy that tie from the Atlas store. So if you want to, you can do what I want to do, where you can wear that, you can have the tie sit in the corner and scream at it like Willem Dafoe in Spider-Man. But I believe you get the super bad ending. Like whenever you're looking for evidence and you have a full social link with him, you can go up to him and he'll give you the lighter he uses to light Dojima's cigarettes to burn all the evidence, and he'll go, haha, good job, partner. And then they'll just get the worst ending for the whole game.
Huh.
Oh.
See, I had forgotten that he was the villain in this game. Like, I had no memory of it. I vaguely remembered it, but I couldn't, I was like, I'm not that, I don't remember who the villain is.
Well, the game fakes you out 3 times.
Yes.
And he's the fourth. Or no, he's the third.
He's the third, yeah. They fake you out with Mitsuo, and then the delivery driver, which we'll talk about a little bit. Because after Risei, then that's when you have Mitsuo's dungeon, because Mitsuo kills one of the teachers, the moron guy. I forget what his name.
Oh yeah, Nate, did you finish Adachi's social link? Was I right about that?
No, I looked it up. I was one social link away by the deadline.
After a while.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a good thing you didn't finish it. Then yeah, the last thing you want to do is accidentally trigger the fucking worst ending.
Well, I think even if you get it to 10, you can still get the good ending. I just think that ending is a choice then.
Okay.
Yeah,
because
you probably
I think
have to say yes to something.
I think the difference is when you're standing outside the restaurant and you're putting the pieces together, I think one of the options is conceal the truth about Adachi.
I wanted to get him maxed out just to see what happened, but I couldn't find him a lot. He was hard to find.
He's either in Juness or by the gas station
At night only.
And sometimes he wants to hang out during the day, and then when you're rank 4, I think, is when it just goes to strictly night. And then from what I was reading, once you hit rank 7, that's it. If you hit rank 7 by the deadline, then once shit starts going wild, it will auto rank up Teddy's and the investigation team.
Oh, that's cool. I don't remember where I got him to. When I would see him, I would do his, but then he just disappeared after a bit because the game, things get a little crazy. So as you keep progressing, I mean, you also when you first catch Mitsuo, you think the game is over. Even I remember this don't look right because I know this game goes farther in the date because you always have the year, the date, the month and day that you're in because you're going through a whole year's time that you're in this town. So I remember but I do like Mitsuo stuff where you find out he killed the teacher, but then he got trapped in the TV himself. But he didn't murder anyone else, kidnap anyone else, but he also was kind of connected. He was early. I did not catch this the first time, obviously, but when I was replaying this game, he goes up to Yukio very early in the game and tries to ask her out. And she's like, no.
You're talking about Mitsuo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like his dungeon because his is supposed to be all like a video game. Mm-hmm. I really like that one.
It's like 3D Dot Game Hero. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the final boss, the Shadow Mitsuo, it looks very much like that.
I need to play that game someday.
I think it's specifically supposed to be a reference. I think they the creators know each other or something.
It didn't come out
that's
yet,
cool.
though.
It came out the same year, I think. Because I remember playing that on my PSP when Persona 4 came out.
I have 3D Dot Game Heroes, but I never. 2009 it comes out, so it could have been it would have been in production at this time.
Yeah, I'm looking
Right.
at art from 3D.Game Heroes, though, and it's extremely his dungeon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to play that game someday.
Yeah,
Like
but
the way that the characters in that are made of like the voxels and everything. It's very,
Yeah.
very reminiscent.
so
It's a very hard game, Mike. I never beat it, but it was fun.
Well,
And I'm trying to remember. So
Zelda
Mitsuo
1-ish.
is the one who he kills King Moron, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before that, though, we missed my favorite King Moron moment, where before all this happened, you decide to go on what Japanese kids do a lot, where they go on like field trips out in the country and learn actual skills and stuff. And you go with your friends, and it's a nice friend moment because it's like, hey, we're going here and whatever, and then you have the really funny moment where it's like, oh yeah, the girls are gonna make us dinner, and then they remember, oh yeah, the friends that we have that are girls are fucking weirdos and they can't cook with the shit. And what is it? And it's like, oh yeah, I'm so glad my uncle gave me swim shorts. And it's like kanji, and it's like, Yosuke, why'd you bring fucking swim trunks for kanji? And he's like, shut up. And then he's like, hey girls, why don't you wear swimsuits? And they're like, oh, we're not wearing swimsuits. And he's like, you won't cook us dinner, you won't wear swimsuits, what are you good for? And they're like, okay, then we'll wear them then. He's like, oh, okay, cool. And then you all get pushed down the river and get thrown up on by King Moron.
Yeah.
This was the moment where I was really like, if I could fight Yosuke.
Right. It's in the tent. Yosuke, that's when he gets super homophobic toward kanji.
Yeah.
How do I get Adachi to kidnap Yosuke?
I do like the whole idea that this game also like fits in because you can rescue them the day after they're that once a couple days within after they're kidnapped. But they're like, yeah, they don't go back to school until when the game would have them come back. Like, yeah, they're too tired. I mean, they're exhausted from this ordeal. Which makes sense. And I just like that.
It's great. Then you just do social links and read books and eat at the Chinese restaurant, trying to finish that Portal to the Meat Dimension bowl.
I never did finish that either.
I ate not.
The benefit of that, from what I know, is that nobody's social link is available on rainy days. So you can eat at the Chinese place on rainy days and raise your courage, which you need your courage to be maxed out before you can start Naoto's social link.
It raises like courage, knowledge.
Yeah.
It raises like 3
diligence.
social links.
Yeah, courage, knowledge, and diligence, I think. And you need knowledge and courage to both be maximum before you can even start Naoto's social link, which my knowledge I had maxed out anyway. Like I focused on that a bunch. I read every book that was available and read the speed reading book, which makes reading the books faster.
I read that.
And then I studied like a bunch, like before exams, I would spend like 2 weeks just studying every night. And so I had my knowledge up high, but courage, it took me a while. What I did was I just started going, once you get to that beach you can go to, I started going and swimming in the ocean, and that raises your courage every time. And if it's raining, it raises your courage and your knowledge for some reason.
I did a little bit.
See, this is one of the things I've always told my husband, and I always make a joke where it's like, hey, can we just like not live in America anymore? And it's where I want to move to is in America, but I was like, can we just not live in the States and go live in Alaska? And he's like, why do you want to live in Alaska? And I'm like, well, just because I don't like people. And he's like, but 30 Days of Night, the vampires. And I'm like, yeah, that's whatever, but eventually we're gonna get old and we'll have to do something. And he's like, what would we do? Would we even have internet? And I'm just like, no, I'm just going to buy a PS2 and then buy like that fucking, what is that thing called? The fucking, someone made like a mod for the PS2 where you can just shove it in the back. And because it's all original hardware, you can actually play all the PS2 games on the modded PS2.
Yeah.
And that's just like, yeah, that's what I do. I would sit there and have a PS2 and play every single PS2 game I ever wanted to when I get done with every job I have out there. And one of them would be the Persona series. It's like, look, I'm still getting out and having fun and all these fun activities that I can pretend I'm doing. Like swimming in the ocean or going to go eat food with my friends.
I would never. I'm terrified of the ocean in real life. I do not like the ocean. I also live in Minnesota, so there is no ocean near me, but I do not like the ocean. Hey, when I went to Boston, I stepped my foot in the water just to say I could touch the ocean. It might have been the bay, but close enough.
I live like an hour and a half from the ocean, so
play horror games involving the ocean. Okay.
Ooh, we should play Raft.
Next week is Subnautica.
Ooh.
I mean, Soma was on the show the previous week, so hey.
Oh.
Speaking of Alaska, I used to live there. Really cool. Everyone should go to Alaska.
My sister lived there for like 20 years. I never went out and visited her.
I want to visit the States someday, but I don't see it happening anytime soon.
I'm not a nature boy, but even when I was like 8, I was like, damn, Alaska's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It just looks. I don't know. It seems like a state that like. Yeah. Like
my aunt and uncle, who are both retired, they got like the great gig is they drive all the way from Texas to Alaska every summer.
Ugh.
And with hauling a RV, like a camper trailer, and they camp for free and act as the camp like superintendents or whatever. And so they just like help people like hook up their stuff, and they go and like collect the trash and that kind of stuff, and they get to stay for like 60 days every summer in Alaska for free at a campgrounds. So
driving that far. Oh.
Yeah, driving from Texas to Alaska, hauling it's insane.
I mean, you gotta go through all Canada too.
Yeah, but they, I guess like 3 years ago, coming back, they like flipped the camper, so they don't do it anymore.
I have a really fucked up question for all of you.
Yeah.
So there's a social thing you can super miss, and it's decent backstory. So the girl that Yosuke likes, the one that gets killed at the beginning of the game, right?
Yes.
Right.
Did y'all find the social link for her brother?
I had talked to him, and I didn't realize he was a social link, but he was like, I want to talk to you. And I was like, all right, that's cool.
That is so fucking funny. I forgot how to. I missed it the first time I played this. My friend told me that I missed it too, which was funny. But yeah, there's those whole social link that ends up wrapping up her story too, where like you end up becoming friends with her brother, who's a first year, and I think it's basically implied that it's just like, hey, you end up talking to him. I think it's a whole thing where it's like, yeah, my family actually kind of fucking feels bad for treating my sister like shit because all she was doing was trying to help us get money because the store was going under. And it's like, oh, that's actually pretty fucking sad. Too bad everyone fucking misses it.
Yeah, I don't know how to do his. I
have no memory of ever even coming across him. You're talking about Saki.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him once. I saw him in the nurse's office. You see him in like one of the events or somewhere I ran across him, but I never started his social link. I don't know where he hangs out at. I also didn't care. So
you can only meet him on June 7th or 8th during a mandatory storyline. Afterwards, you must talk to him 3 more times on the first floor to form a social link. It requires a rank 3 of understanding.
Oh, I see. I never even bothered to talk to him because I didn't know he was a social link, so I didn't try.
A lot of people don't know. It's a very missable one.
And some of the stuff in the school, like you can choose, like you can choose what, band or drama, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've never done band. I've only done drama like 3 times playing this game, and then you can choose basketball or soccer, and I always choose soccer.
Right, and you can. There's actually romanceable. There's 3 romance options: 1 for sports, 1 for band, and 1 for drama.
So I think they're the same social link. It's just different characters.
It is. Well, I'm sorry. The sports one is the moon social link, and then the band and drama are both sun.
Yeah, but that's a whole can of worms in itself, because like the drama one, did everyone pick drama or did anyone pick band?
I picked band, and I have thoughts.
Yeah.
Nerd.
I wish I had picked drama.
So Kerry, tell us what's the band one for everyone's info.
Well, so the thing about the band, the girl you meet in band is Ayane Matsunaga, and I'm sure she's supposed to be in high school, but she looks about 7. She looks roughly the same age as Nanako, just taller, and she's romanceable. And her social link, man, it's like her arc is, I'm trying to remember, it's like her dad is in the hospital and dying, and she's like dealing with the trauma of her dad dying, and like she has all this like anger toward her dad, and you have to basically help her work through not being mad at her dad for dying. Basically, it's very dark.
No, that's the other girl.
No, that's the one I did. Ayane, the one that looks like she's like 8 years old. It's the band girl.
Oh, huh.
That's pretty close to what Yumi is, because Yumi's the drama one that I did all 3 times I played this game.
Yeah, I've done both of them. But I didn't finish the other one because I was like, I feel kind of weird about this because you also have to help her with like, she's also real self-conscious about looking like a 7-year-old. So
Ayane's doesn't talk about her appearance at all.
Oh, fuck. Okay, I don't remember this game very well all then, because
you're thinking Yumi, who is like her anime picture is like really gorgeous. Ayane is she looks like literally looks like an 8-year-old. She
I saw her
even has a little like Koopy doll, like little pink circles on her cheeks. And yeah, it was like, I was like, oh, I made a mistake here. So I did not romance her. I took her social link to like 7 or 8 though, because I wanted to enhance the Sun profile. Well, and also at first I was interested in her social link. I was like, oh, this is kind of an interesting story. But then, yeah, it eventually it got annoying. Like every time you meet her, you would just listen to her cry like a lot.
Yeah, that dad dying thing is the same as the.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, and I'm saying this, and I'm like, I'm reading the wiki, and it's not mentioning that for her. But I mean, I definitely did not do drama. I did band.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I definitely did drama, and I definitely had to, work on her with her dad dying.
Oh wow, that's fucking
I also
weird.
think it's funny whoever said nerd about band over drama.
We'll never know who said that.
I was in choir. That's even nerdier.
It was a joke.
Yeah,
It's okay. You're from Ohio.
That was I was in drama, and
You know what?
and
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I'm from
band
Utah.
kids would try to beat us.
I need to make a correction. I forgot. When I played it on PS2, I did drama. And when I played Golden, I did band. That's what it was. So I was getting them mixed up.
I thought
Y'all are
maybe
right.
they just
Yumi's-
put the
no.
same. I thought
No.
maybe they just put the same
Same.
social link.
No, I was remembering
depending on-
Yumi's. Yeah,
Okay.
y'all are right. No, Ayane's is just that she sucks at band.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
just
yeah.
fucking is terrible. And everyone knows she's terrible. And she knows she's terrible. And you have to just be like, no, you're good. And she's like, oh, thanks. You're wrong. I'm going to go home and cry. But thanks anyway. And that was hers. Every time. She would just be like, well, no, I actually do suck. I'm going to go home and cry. And then she'd come back and tell you, like, thanks for saying I don't suck, even though I suck.
Well,
That
yeah,
was
I think
basically hers.
I think isn't the whole fucked up joke too? Is they're like, oh, we have like she looks like she's 7. It's like, oh, we'll make her play the fucking tuba or some shit, right?
Trombone, yeah.
Okay,
Trombone,
yeah.
which is like you have to have really long arms for. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no!
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, you guys. Yeah, no, y'all are right.
No,
It's
fine.
Yumi's
Oh.
the one with the dad in the hospital.
I just looked up her picture. Yeah, she does look like a child.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can date her.
Yep.
Boo! No, bad.
Yeah, it's
Man.
it's weird. And then the
If you turn on
sports
network
one-
features for the game and you date her, Chris Hansen knocks on your door.
yeah.
Oh, Japan sometimes.
Oy, oy,
Oh, it-
whoa.
I didn't like Yumi. Yumi's just one thing I did find was kind of like when you get to a certain point with Yumi's, I think it's when you max her out, you can romance her. At one point, you can romance her, and it's either she's like, I really like you, and it's either the opposite, you hug her or walk away.
Hmm.
And I didn't want to mess up with Yukio, so I had to just walk away and just leave her there.
Yeah.
I really
"This
like you.
feel right.
Damn, that's crazy.
She never talked to you again after that. I think it was her max. I think it's at her max. You can date her. It's either you date her or you just end it. I just like, okay, bye. I already got a girlfriend.
There was
I-
something like that near the end of the game with Rize, where it was like my only options were like,
Hug her. Yeah.
it was to hug her or to just sit there and watch her be like cry. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, fuck, I don't want to piss off. I don't want Yukio to think that I'm over here hugging Rize. So I just was like, sit here and watch her cry.
Oh no. You guys want to know the worst one?
What?
The worst one is Naoto's.
I didn't do any of Nato's either.
Oh, it's Naoto's not good.
So now, because I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but I'll go ahead and start
That's
talking about
fine.
social links real quick and romantic social links. So Naoto's whole social link is that she's self-conscious about not being a man and not self-conscious. And the whole thing is like, and one thing also I didn't mention in the beginning, but it's also transphobic. It's not her wanting to be a man because she wants to be a man. It's her wanting to be a man because apparently she's the first girl born in like several generations, and they've all been
Yeah.
great detectives and things like that.
So she's Ganondorf.
And she wants to be a detective, which she says is predominantly male.
In
Yeah.
Japan.
That's why
Career.
she kind of
So she masks.
kind of dresses. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is like the other characters all seem to be like surprised she's a boy, and I'm like, is the Japanese voice actor not sound extremely feminine? Because the American voice actor it's clearly a woman,
She bind her chest too. That's
right?
why.
But still, the voice and the face. As soon as Naoto showed up, I was like, well, that's a girl.
I'll be honest, I was surprised. Like I was like, okay, yeah, that's a guy.
I thought it
And
was
the
a guy. I
dungeon was-
thought she was a guy too at first because I mean the game even says he until you get later on and find out that
Well, yeah, because everyone thinks
Yeah.
thinks that.
Which also another fuck you Yosuke moment is after her dungeon. Like she talks, like you ask her, like, because she baits herself into being kidnapped because she's like, I'm going to put myself in danger. And then she talks about like how she didn't see who it was. She doesn't know much about what happened. And Yosuke is like, well, you're a detective and you didn't even see what happened. And it's like, my dog. Like,
So
He's an
before,
asshole.
Shinsuke is an asshole.
such an ass. Yeah.
So before I super forget, I had to look it up real quick anyway. So I also train a little bit. But whenever you pick Naota's relationship pick, she's basically having issues, trying to figure out what's going on because basically her whole social thing is trying to solve a case, and the big reveal at the end is that it's her butler doing it. But the choice to have is whenever to get the flag is she's having an issue with the fucking case, and the choices are either I'm glad you're a girl, your gender doesn't matter, or nothing you can do. And both the other two, it sucks that your gender doesn't matter is a friendship route, but I also hate that it's like, oh, you have to say she's a girl because at the end of the day, her gender doesn't really matter whether she's a good detective or not. So it's like, thanks for making me be a little fucking weird game. I really appreciate that.
So I do want to talk about because now it's a dungeon.
I didn't know that was the option.
Oh, you're good. I didn't mess.
I chose your gender doesn't matter because I was like, yeah, that's what I would say. Like,
Yeah, just try to, But I mean, I guess I can kind of see from like when it comes like if you're trying to romance, like yeah, but I don't know. With Naoto, was like so when I played this game this time, like her whole dungeon is that it's like a mad scientist place that she wants to like do surgery on herself. Like I thought it was supposed to be a whole like transgender thing is what they were going for, but they're not. It's just.
I think it's supposed to be like a spy, a super spy thing, like a spy. That's where you get like the spy outfits.
I mean, I took it as just she's just upset that she's in a world that is dominated by men in her role of job that she wants.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Japan
yes,
is
it
more
is.
like that, I guess, than what I mean. We are too. Like we're fucking bad in certain things. I mean, maybe other places are worse than what the state I'm in. The state I'm in is more liberal.
So it's two things. I think one, you think spy. I thought it was mad scientist. I thought the whole
No,
point was,
you're right. It's called the secret laboratory. So
yeah, because her character's wearing a lab coat and she's supposed to use a ray that'll turn her from a woman into a man. But what was it? Also, but it's also a thing too where Japan also does kind of a thing as well where how we treat spies, they treat detectives that way too. I say that because I've seen Detective Conan and that's basically the same fucking concept.
Okay.
yeah. So
Somewhat
and
episode of
yeah,
it.
the outfits you get the like I wore those outfits most of the game. The like black men in black suits basically. Like I thought, especially like Chie looks really cool in her like men in black suit.
I didn't change any of the outfits, even though you could. I just didn't do it. I'm like,
Well,
nope.
I will say I did. I am a little bit of a perv and had Yukiko in her Halloween costume a little bit too. So
What is her Halloween costume?
it's just like a little like
The witch, isn't it?
yeah, it's a witch, but it's a sexy witch.
Hey, you know what? You can do that, or hear me out. You can dress Teddy up as a girl. That's both options.
We should
Yeah.
talk about Teddy.
I don't fucking
Anyone want to
Teddy.
take over? Talk about Teddy? Like Nate?
Do we have to?
Okay, I'll take those.
I mean,
yes. You don't have to, but one of us does.
So, fun fact: my daughter was watching me play the ending of Versailles Fight Shadow Teddy. That is the scariest thing. That is so creepy. Why did they do this in this game? Why did they make him so creepy? Like just the Shadow Teddy. But anyway, after that fight, Teddy comes to the real world, and is it at a Juness thing where he takes off his mascot head and everyone freaks out, or is that like in? Okay.
Well,
and everyone's like, "Oh my god, you can't do that."
Everyone freaks out about him doing it, but Yosuke actually does that to him the first time you meet him in the Shadow World. He whips his fucking head off the first time you meet him.
Inside, yeah.
Yeah.
So then he starts doing it, and they're all like, "Oh my god, no!" And then it's Japanese boy.
It's a feet blonde Japanese boy in a ruffled tuxedo shirt with a red carnation.
Tuxedo.
Teddy, who
And
turns
then-
into a white boy?
And then here's my issue with it too, is another, I just cannot stand Yosuke, is like Teddy is a pervert as well. And every time Teddy's a pervert, Yosuke gets super pissed off about it. But then Yosuke is also a pervert. And it's like, really, you two should be working together to be perfect.
Yes.
Like
I was gonna say he and Yosuke are two peas in a pod.
That's probably they don't like each other. Why he doesn't like him?
Yeah.
Usually people don't like someone that acts like them.
I mean, I
Like that.
I like his character arc though, like where he's like, "Am I real?" Basically, like,
Yeah.
or am
I
I
did.
just from the am I just from the TV world?
I
Well, he
maxed
is
out
a
his
shadow.
social link.
Existed.
I maxed out his. What do you max out his social link by default? Because I did
Yes.
not. I did not purposely
Yeah.
max out his social link.
It's default, yeah.
So I was going to say,
automatic,
I
yeah.
actually enjoyed his social link, even though I found him annoying. I think it's mostly his voice. His voice is so annoying.
No, that's not wrong.
Yeah, I didn't like his voice either.
And there's
the
also
voice actor is from South Africa.
oh,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Would not have guessed that.
and then a few other. There's also a few part-time jobs you can do for social links. There's the nurse one where you work at a hospital as a janitor. That one is creepy as fuck when you think about that she's hitting on a 16-year-old or whatever you are.
Did
So
you
is that
finish-
the only way you interact with her? Is if you work at the hospital?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, because y'all were talking about her earlier, and I'm like, I don't remember a nurse.
you didn't miss anything.
But
I swore they
she
fucked,
hits on
but-
you. She hits on you, Mike, but then you show her the value of hard work and dedication. And she goes, "Yeah, I should go back to being a hard worker."
I swear it seems like she's having sex with you the way they word it. Like they really insinuate that you're sleeping with her.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
that-
can't you date one of your teachers in Persona 5?
You can
Yes.
you can date your teacher in Persona 3 and Persona 5.
Yeah, you can date your teacher, and she is the best. She's the best person to date because she gives you so much free time.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say I have not finished Persona 5, but the nurse, like over the teacher over the nurse.
The teacher is stupid. Not teacher. The nurse is stupid. It's a stupid link. It doesn't. She's the devil too. Is the social link or the which doesn't make any sense. So I mean, it's just I don't know. It doesn't have any kind of payoff like I thought it might. I maxed it out in my first playthrough because I thought he was going to sleep with her. But
Oh, so that's why that's frustrating a little bit to me because I was always getting these devil personas and I never could figure out how am I supposed to get this devil social link. I don't know what it is, but I never looked it up. And she's literally, I'm looking it up now. She's the only way to get it. So if you don't take that one random job, then you'll never get that social link.
there's also a tutoring job where you tutor a middle school kid. I did a little
Right,
bit
that's
of
how you get the tower link. Right.
yeah.
Oh, you mean
That
not
kid sucks.
Nanako?
Right. Shoo. Yeah, I did take a job, and it was the babysitting after school thing.
That one is dumb too.
Yeah, well, I showed up to work like 3 times. I was like, fuck it, I don't need money that much. I never went back.
Can you romance that parent?
No, you can't.
No.
That one is all about the fact that like she married a rich guy who's never around, and now she has to kind of raise his son, but he doesn't like her because she's not his real mom, and it eventually gets better. But I'm just like, no, you can't romance her, but you just talk to her because apparently she confides into a 17-year-old, or 16-year-old, whoever he is.
I'm looking, and death is also only through the hospital.
Interesting character in Inuba.
Yeah, everybody wants to be your friend.
And then there's also I think is her name. Is it AI? The girl that you get through the strength arc that you can hit on or you can date.
Oh yeah,
I don't like her.
Yeah.
She wants to skip school, and I'm not about that life. I'm like, no, we gotta get good grades.
You
and
only
get out of
skip school
Inuba.
once to get her
Fucking
to start it. Good one, Colby. But she almost commits suicide too at one point. Like there's where she's upset and she's standing on the roof and you gotta like talk her down. So I mean, I don't know. I didn't max her out. I did piss her off at one point. I called her a bitch because I got irritated with her. I'm gonna pick this option, and it actually put the link on hold. And it's like, nope, now you got to go apologize. I'm like, oops.
I was about to tell everybody that after I beat the game, I was looking up like what I needed to do for the platinum because I'm a sick fuck and can't stop 100%ing things. But her social link, I believe, is like one of. I think there's only 2 in the game where like if you romance them, like it can progress backwards if you make wrong choices.
Crazy.
Because I didn't go backwards, but I had to put it on hold where I couldn't interact with her until I talked to her and apologized for being an ass.
I think I met her once and I never even came across her again. I met her when she showed up to sports practice and was like, yeah, I'm only here because I skipped school too much. And they made me. I was like, all right.
Yeah, you
I never
see her
saw
in the
again.
first floor by the lockers.
Yeah, I never talked to her though.
I wish I
looking
would have
through
found
all
her
these
because
social links, and there's like 7 people here I don't ever even remember seeing.
Yeah, I wish I would have found her because this is that also my type of.
Nope. I mean, yeah, it's very high schooly to be upset and the way that she acts, but I just didn't like her. Like you skip school, you go, then most of you is holding her bags for her while she's going shopping, and then she talks about how she used to be heavier set and things, and that she wants people to like her, and she followed these magazines and lost weight and is doing all like buying fancy clothes and stuff, but people don't like her. It's I mean, they talk a lot about being a teenager and what you go through, but I just didn't care for her social link. Are there any others that were missing?
There's a fox.
Oh yeah, Fox just gives you side quests, essentially, and then you get
the-
cheaper healing.
The upshot of that
but-
is he heals your mana specifically.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you want to rank that up because it lessens how much you have to pay to replenish your SP.
Hey,
Which
I'm very easy.
I found
Doesn't
out
matter.
that you could even do that. I think I was about 75 hours in when I found out that you could even do that. Because here's the thing, when you go up to him, it doesn't say refill your SP, it says heal. Well, I don't need to be healed. I've got Yukiko. She can fully heal everyone in the party, like no problem. So every time I would see him and it would say like pay the fox a buttload of money to heal your party. I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need to be healed. And so I never even tried it until literally the end game.
Yeah, it has to be a mistranslation. But there's
It has
also
to
a
be.
YouTube video I watched. It's an SV, and he compares like various parts and remasters. And he recently did one for Persona 4, where he said that even in Golden, there's a mistranslation of heavy physical attacks where they're actually like the step above. So if it says heavy, it's like severe, and then severe is like actually mighty, and they just bothered to fix it.
Oh.
That is
Wait,
weird.
so severe is more than heavy though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. I was saying
Like,
because I definitely
at the end of
upgraded from heavy to severe.
At the end, I had a persona that nullified physical damage and had half HP and half SP cost for skills. And then I had a severe attack all that
Oh,
I
wow.
just used. I just had Yukiko hitting every other turn and just, went to
Yeah, my
town.
main character my main character was a kind of a support. I had made like a really good persona that I had like 2 or 3 different ones where I could shield everyone from physical, like reflect physical or reflect magical as necessary. And then I could raise everyone's hit and evasion and their damage. And so I would just do that. And then Chie would just do a massive physical Chie and Kanji would both just do a massive physical attack every other round while Yukiko kept them healed. And that was pretty much, I was barely ever using any, I was only using elements whenever someone was specifically weak to them.
I didn't use it. Yeah, I was kind of the same way too. So,
But also like I had a Mother Harlot persona that had the like medium chance to instantly kill everyone darkness ability, and then had the Mudo boost that increases the likelihood of hitting with darkness attacks. And then basically if an enemy was not strong against darkness, then it would die. So that I could just, as I'm going through the main encounter, it would never work on bosses, but going up to the bosses, I could just delete most encounters first round. Except that then Chie got to be faster than me. And so then it put me from being first in line to being fourth in line, which is annoying. Because it goes in the order, your party order is set. You don't get to move it around. And it's just like whoever's fastest goes first, and then it goes in that order. So even though my character was the second fastest, he would go last once Chie got to be faster than him. Kind of annoying.
It took me 70 hours to figure out that you could hit R1 in battle and see who was going next.
oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever did that, but
Yeah.
it's useful to know if you need to guard or, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be useful. Oh, you mean to like know if the boss is going to go in between someone? Yeah, I see.
Yeah, so like if there was specifically like if there was a wind enemy and like, Kanji's weak to wind. So then if I'm on him, it's like, okay, do I attack this enemy and maybe kill it, or should I guard and protect against like getting knocked down and having the enemy do a one more?
Yeah, that's neat. I never knew you could do that.
I didn't either. Oh, another social link that I forgot to mention, which I didn't bother with, is by working at the hospital or something to do, there's a widow there that you can meet that is the social link for death. But I never did that one. The YouTube told me it existed.
You have to get the nurse to like level 4 first.
Okay. I saw her.
Yeah.
I saw the death one. I never went to the floodplain very often. So
I was gonna say, like, a guide said go to the floodplain at night, and I did, and she was never there. But I met her, and she said, like, oh, you should come find me, and like we can talk. And never met her.
just
There is-
social links.
There's one other social link, which is Margaret. And hers, I never was able to progress because she would ask for, like, oh, I want this random ass persona with this random ass ability. And I'm like, I don't have that. I don't have the option to make that persona. He's not shown up in any of my fusions. So, but I guess if you use the compendium, you could store them and then go through the compendium and figure out which ones to fuse. Is that probably what you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
So I was playing the game wrong.
It's a little bit of both.
What would happen is every time I would be in a dungeon and I would hit my maximum number of personas, then I would leave the dungeon, go to the Velvet Room, and just fuse personas until I only had like 4 personas. And that's just what I would do every time. I never was storing them or anything. I was just fusing them and making bigger ones, different ones.
So whenever I first played this game, I played Persona 3 and I played Persona 4. I also was really unfamiliar with that. And so recently Persona 5 came out. I played with my husband. And the easiest thing to do is just to fucking Google it, because my husband literally goes, why? Because my husband's way much of a gamer than I am. I'll completely admit that as well. And he's like, just Google what personas to make and things like that. And that's how you're supposed to figure out how to make all the fucked up personas. Like, I think which is kind of similar to this, but like in 5, when I beat the game because he helped me look it up, I had like Lucifer and like Beelzebub and like all these really powerful personas. And it's like, how are you supposed to know you're supposed to get these? It's like, you're not. You're supposed to fucking Google it and look up a fucking guide because it's easier that way.
Oh, I don't like to play games like that though. I until I've beaten it once. Like when I come back, like when I played through Dark Souls the first time, I didn't look up anything. I just beat the game, and then you come back and you do it again. But I hear you. Like I'm playing Persona 5 now, and I hear that, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna kind of do what I did in Persona 4 probably.
I wouldn't mess with Margaret at all. I talked to her. I started it. I went, that's nice, and then I never came back. So I just didn't care.
See, once the Velvet Room unlocked like the more complex fusions than just like 2 or 3, that's when I got like super into like, okay, I need to find this persona, because like as you rank up those social links, you'll unlock the ability to fuse like really strong personas. And the one that like nulled physical and had like half HP and SP costs was like, I think Futsunishi in the Delta one. But yeah, like it's so worth it. And I'm really glad I did it, because it just made battles like boss fights a lot easier and less stressful. I guess.
I didn't bother. And then I want to wait to talk about Marie. The point when this game really goes balls to the wall is the next dungeon after Naoto's, when eventually Nanako gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
And I love how everybody just fucking loses it. Like
I was
in the
so
chat. Oh yeah, in our group chat, like we were each like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was so like when they started hinting at it, I was like, better fucking not. Like, I don't fucking think so.
And that can happen, by the way. If you don't rescue her in time, you do get the ending that she's dead.
That's just messed up and sad, because she's great. Like, and then that's when you get the next like, haha, it's this guy, the guy whose mistress was killed in the first murder. He ended up kidnapping people and throwing the TV because he thought he's saving them, in quotations. Because he was tricked.
There's a really funny way, like, I guess it's like kind of dialogue tree you can get, which I think is really funny. So you can talk to your friends before you go into the dungeon officially. So like they're all in front, like there's a save point in the room, the Velvet Room, and things like that before you officially go in dungeon. You can change your party and things like that. You can talk to everyone. I think my favorite moment of all is, which I don't know if you guys got like that thought, but it's really funny because I remember it. Before you go in the dungeon, Chie and everyone's like, oh, it's heaven. This must be Nanako's heaven. So this must make sense. So this is her area. And then you get to the end, and it's like, what the fuck do you mean this is in Nanako's dungeon? Well, Nanako's a child. Even though she has fucked up trauma, she's not officially there yet. Like Silent Hill. So it doesn't make sense that she would be this would be her world. So it's like, oh, so the world is for the weird guy who thinks he's throwing people into heaven because he's a fucking freak and a weirdo.
Oh, yeah. I like how he's a delivery driver, and that's why everybody fell for it, because he's opened the door. Hey, I got the box. Oh, throw you in the TV.
And if you think about it, like the whole game, like there will be so many times that when you're home, just you and Nanako, and a delivery is made, like something you bought on the home shopping channel, and the doorbell will ring, she'll go, "I'll get it." And
That
thinking
makes
about
sense.
that in the context of then her being kidnapped by Namatame, it becomes much more ominous, like in playing a New Game Plus. And the first time I had something delivered, the doorbell rings, she goes, "I'll get it." And I was like, "Oh, no, Nanako, don't. Don't."
Huh.
And that's when you can really, once you do end up solving that dungeon, because that's when you can, I might have fucked up if Kerry wouldn't have posted in the group chat where he's like, you need to do these options or you can fuck up your game, because you can kill him. You can throw him in the TV thinking that he's the murderer when it turns out that he's not a murderer. I mean, he's kidnapping and throwing the TVs, but he's being manipulated by the true villain.
Yeah, so there's 3 bad endings there. And what happened to me is, so I will spoil it right now, the actual killer is Adachi.
Yes.
The assistant detective to Dojima. The first time I met Adachi, literally the first time he came on screen, I was like, "Oh, I bet that guy's the bad guy." Like way back, like an hour into the game. It is actually like about an hour into the game when he shows up, and he just comes off as like, I was like very clear, like, secret anime villain of like, oh, the little squirmy guy was like, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to. What? Oh, I better not tell y'all about. Don't tell Dojima I said that. And I'm like, oh, he's bad. He's a bad guy. So I get to the end and it's Namatame, and I'm like, well, I guess I was wrong. And so I just chose one of the, hey, we're not going to kill this guy. We're going to let him live. And that's, you have the 3 bad endings, which is you can kill Namatame, like murder him, like in the real world, like actually murder his ass. And that's the worst ending, right? And then there's the one I got, which is where you convince Yosuke not to murder him. I don't know what the third one is. Does someone know what the third one is?
I think the other third one's the one I mentioned earlier, where you can side with Adachi and put all the
that's
evidence. Right. Yeah,
that's right. So you know that it is Adachi, and then you side with him. Yeah, that's the most evil ending, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty evil.
I think all 3 bad endings imply that like the fog world bleeds over into our world and shadows are appearing and they end up taking over our world, basically.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video called Persona 4 all 3 bad endings. And I'm looking at it, and that's what happens is the fog like goes into your house, basically.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I do like how, and then after that, you eventually get Adachi's dungeon. When you find out Adachi's the murderer, they confront him. He jumps into the TV to run away from them because they're going to capture him. And because he's like, I don't care. Like, he's like, I'm fine with the TV world. And then that's when the fog is like all over the town, and everybody's like, I don't think we're okay here.
People are going nuts. Like I love it. And it has the best music. The music becomes so dark and ominous. But then there's certain actions you do in the game that will always cause the music to do a certain music cue. And so you're playing this kind of end game where the town is filled with fog. Everybody's freaking out. People go from being like, I don't know, this stuff is really scary, to being like, hey, you know what? Maybe the fog is good and we should all just embrace it. And maybe we should all just embrace death. And I'm like, holy crap, things are getting dark. And the music is just like, da-dun, da-dun, just when you're walking to school and shit. And then you'll go to like buy something on the home shopping network. Or you'll go to Jeunesse, it's like, and it's just like, there's just random things you'll do where it'll just do cheerful music all of a sudden.
That home shopping network theme is that's the best song in the game.
Oh God, I disagree.
Hard on.
Yeah, like, I was wondering if it was you that said that. Yeah, I hate that song.
The music, I'm not a big fan of the music because a lot of it just repeats, and it has like a very short loop, like not long enough to be like, oh, I enjoyed that, but just very short to where it got repetitive for me. But that home shopping theme, I was like, yeah, I'll talk to Tanaka. I wish I could talk to him every day. Like, let me romance Tanaka so I can hear
love
that
the music
song.
in this game. I have the soundtrack.
Oh, if it
I
makes
listen to
y'all
it while working all the time.
if it makes you all feel better, Tanaka's in all 3 games.
Oh, that's cool. I mean,
I'm
cool.
playing Reload right now. Not like right this second, but like I have it.
Reloads the beginning. You actually have a really fucked up social link with him where he's really sketchy as fuck, and he's like, hey, you should give me money to start my business. And every part of his social link is just you having him more and more money. And the best part is at the end of his social link, it accumulates to the ending of his like, hey, you're that kid. Remember me? It's me, Tanaka. Thank you for helping my business. And I finally have it off the ground. What you think? You didn't think I was gonna fucking scam you, did you? Hey, here's all the money you've ever given me, and it's doubled because you helped me start my business. Have a good day. And that's the end of his social link.
Thank you, because now
That's
I
a great
know
tip, yeah.
to trust him. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's my instinct in these kind of games is to do that. Is like, oh, I can give money to this thing and I don't get anything for it. That'll reward me in the long run. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to always pump money into this thing.
And I believe Persona 5, you have to fix a laptop, and then he runs the black market where you get black market weapons from him. And it's the same concept where he has different deals different days. So the main thing you have to do is go home and check the laptop to see what he has.
I really want to play 5. I might.
I'm going to tell you, just that opening like 5 minutes of 5, I played it like 10 minutes after rolling credits on Persona 4. I like rolled credits, like, all right, let me check out 5 because I've had it installed on my PS5 unplayed for like since I got my PS5 like 3 years ago. And I was like, well, it's time to finally play it. And I sat down and that intro, I was like, this seems like it was made in a different century than Persona 4. It is so gorgeous. It looks better than any game I've played on my PS5 too. And it's just because the art direction
really
is so
stylish.
good. It's so
Once it goes on
stylish.
sale.
Just the menus are enjoyable to click through. Just clicking back and forth in the menus is enjoyable.
You know that person's permanently hired for Atlas now too, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
They need to be.
the menus look like that for fucking Persona 3 Reloaded, and then the menus also look absolutely fucking gorgeous for Metaphor.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I started the demo to Metaphor and I was like, God damn that! Like it
I
looks
just-
so good.
I love the aesthetic of Persona 5 so much, and like I've been into it without having played it until now. And man, yeah, Metaphor looks great too. I'm looking forward to it.
Back to Adachi. I don't exactly remember when he tells you why he does it. Is that before
it's
his
right
dungeon
before
or is it after?
During.
It's
Yeah,
during.
Yeah, I thought it was during his.
So
yeah.
So last year I was watching YouTube and I had the twist spoiled for me via YouTube.
The twist that he's the killer.
That he's the killer. It didn't spoil I don't know why they chose, because it was like a top 10, surprise JRPG fights or whatever.
Right.
And they said, "Oh, is the killer in Persona 4?" And I was like, "Well, that's cool. Like, thank you."
Was it Watch
didn't-
Mojo?
No, but like Watch Mojo adjacent, like just the top 10 ranking channel. Anyway, they didn't spoil the gas station part, which I'm like, why would you not choose that? Like, that's more surprising.
They probably didn't get it.
But
I
anyway,
didn't know it was a thing either. I beat this game twice.
But
You only get it if you get the. Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
so just the true ending.
Yeah.
the gas station attendant is in the normal original PS2 version
Right.
too. I don't know
Yeah.
how I actually really want to talk about how it's changed for the new game because I don't know either.
So the whole time I was playing it, I was like, well, I would just like to know why. Like, did he used to live in Inaba and like, people made fun of him and then he went off and became a detective and now he came back and like nobody recognizes him really. So he starts like killing people. And then it's just, he just, was rejected. Super fucking pissed about it.
Yeah.
Well, it was an accident. I think he was going to choke her or something. And he
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
going to choke her. Like, he was
pushed
her
still
on
going to
TV.
kill
And
somebody.
it was the same thing with the teenage girl that Yosuke likes. He hit on her even though she's a senior in high school, and he rejected her and he slapped her
and then put her in the TV.
and then
So
threw
she
her in the
wouldn't
TV. Yeah. But he just likes killing. He enjoys it. He's a sociopath.
There's a really people make anime edits out of it and they're usually really good. During his boss fight, he also talks about it too, where he's just like, the only reason why I became a cop is so I get a chance to carry around a gun, which is also like a weird apparently a weird Japanese thing too, where they've admitted there's a lot of like shitty cops that are just kind of there because they like the idea of having power.
Well, guns are also banned if you're not. Like,
Guns you just can't buy in Japan.
that would be nice if we could figure that out. But
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's probably a lot of cops, no matter what country you're in the world, that they're cops because they like the idea of being able to walk around and carry a gun and be the big man. That's definitely a Adachi, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because he's this like sniveling, whiny little guy, and it's like, yeah, of course he became a cop because he wants to be able to be a bully.
Well, like, I also thought he mentioned like he was transferred to Inaba because he fucked up a case
Yeah,
in his hometown. And so
That's correct.
he's also just kind of pissed about that.
yeah. He just in general is just like one of those like the world, everything and everybody's against me and none of it's my fault kind of guy. And now I've got power and I'm going to use it.
yeah, he's just shitty. But
It's because he didn't study in school. That's why.
I do like that you fight him as a normal person, then you fight his giant shadow thing or whatever the
because
hell it is.
he can use personas like you, so you fight him like that, and then you fight his true self also. Yeah.
Isn't his giant shadow thing just the personification of the fog?
Something like that.
Or is that after?
That's Marie.
Is that
No.
No,
You
it's
fight giant eyeball or globe or something.
Is that after you beat both phase? Like, is he a 1-phase or 2-phase boss? And then
He's two.
He's two. His like human form,
and then there's a third boss fight. Okay.
Now there.
And after you beat that, that's when the game kind of would like. To me, it felt like that's where the vanilla one ends if you don't unlock the secret ending with the gas station attendant. Because then the game kind of like, at least in the golden version, you had like 3 months just to do social links to your heart's content. Because I already finished, we got to finish Marie's by this point, because then eventually Margaret comes to you and says, because Marie went missing, Marie's this random girl that's at the Velvet Room, and then she unlocks her own dungeon that you have to, like, they access a TV at some ski resort they go to, which is just weird. Marie, you find out, is a shadow.
Right, she's a shadow, but she's, at first you think she's like Teddy, and then you kind of learn more about her nature.
I'm going to bring this up to you real quick, just about Marie. I absolutely fucking hate her design. It looks like someone took a teenage girl and wrapped a bunch of duct tape around her and let her roll around the local Hot Topic.
Yeah, I mean, like, I have to say that's my thing.
I know, but you say if that's your thing, but the thing that threw me off from that too, where I would have said it's that thing, and then later on in the years, I have a friend who has a friend who dressed like that, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then it got weird because she would like pretend to be a dog or a cat, and then also like pretend to eat like a dog and like all this other stuff. And it's like, oh, this isn't attractive at all. This is actually really fucking weird. Have a good day, everybody.
I mean, hey, for some.
Yeah, that's not my thing, but her aesthetic is like about what I would say is the most attractive aesthetic in the game to me. Yeah, like
it's attractive.
And I have definitely looked up some Marie cosplays.
No,
I'm
just
definitely
didn't
a fan of that outfit.
care for her dungeon. I mean, I don't like her dungeon at all because your levels don't matter. You have it takes away all your stat. It's just weird, and I hated it.
It's a trope in JRPGs. Like you have the same thing in Chrono Trigger when you're after Chrono. Spoilers: after Chrono dies, and you're on the Black Omen, and not the Black Omen, the Blackbird. And you've all your gear is taken away, and so you have to sneak through till you find your gear one thing at a time. And so you can't cast spells yet. All right, now this person can cast spells only. It's a little different than that, but you're finding. I liked it. I thought it was a nice challenge. It was it was for an optional late end game thing. I loved it. It would have been more frustrating if it wasn't already like kind of end game.
And then, is there a dungeon for the other part? Because you guys had mentioned that in March. Okay, because in March you find out the gas station attendant is like a god or something that you
right. That's the golden ending, and you fight the gas station attendant. And as I understand it, there's like 3 gods. Basically, they're not capital G gods, but like 3 gods that were kind of given like the power. And one of them is Adachi's persona, and one of them is Marie's. Or one of them is Marie, and then one of them is the gas station attendant, and like their power is like kind of was like, if I'm understanding it correct, I might be misunderstanding it.
I'm gonna jump in and say you're slightly misunderstanding it. Marie and the gas station attendant are 2 halves of the same person.
Right.
And and that's what Golden adds to my understanding. Because I was talking to like one of my friends from high school who played Persona 4 like on PS2. And because I was telling him, because he was like, I've never done Golden. And I would beat the Marie dungeon. And I said, do not bother. Like with the Marie stuff, it is pointless. The writing is really atrocious in that portion. Like it does that trope where everybody repeats the same thing to you over and over again. Like they're like, so this TV in the ski lodge will take us to Marie's dungeon. Like, and it's like, yeah, we established that, dummies. And then, and then like once the gas station stuff started happening, I've texted him back and I said, oh no, like it is worth it now because this is more interesting than the Marie stuff. And he said, oh, how so? And I was like, well, like, you go to like another dungeon after Marie's and like you fight like another basically final boss. And he said, the gas station attendant? I was like, oh, fuck. Like, how did you know? And then he's like, oh, that was an original. So to me, it just seems like Golden added Maria's two halves of the same person does not matter at all to the overall story. It felt
I enjoyed her social link. I liked her as a person, as a thing. I enjoyed her character. I agree. The writing in the ski lodge is not great, but I enjoyed her. And it's not just because I'm horny for her. I mean, that doesn't hurt, but like, I enjoyed her like as an addition to the game, as someone to like talk to and spend time with in the social link and stuff personally. But I see what you're saying. It does sound like they just were like, well, we need to add someone. What if we said that gas station attendant actually has like another half, and that's who it is? I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so then Adachi's is not related to that.
It is. So basically what it is also implied that whenever you do that boss fight is, I don't know what Adachi's final persona is. They do this a lot in the series, where the idea is that you start off as the Full Arcana, and if you're familiar with all that stuff, blah blah, the Full Arcana is the beginning of the journey and things, and so eventually you're supposed to evolve into what you believe you want to do. So basically the idea is she's like, I'm not, which is even weirder, she's like, I'm not inherently evil. It's not my fault, like, Adachi decided to use his power to rape and kidnap women, but I gave him that opportunity, so that's what he took with it. It's also not my fault you decided to use that power to save people and save your friends and form a group and all that. So
that's what the attendant says.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. So basically Adachi is like you, but
he
through
chose
an evil path.
He chose to use best, and that's why they both have the same voice actor. They're both voiced by the same character, or the same voice actor.
Oh, who?
Johnny Young Bosch.
Wait. I mean, who? Which two characters? Adachi and
the main character.
Adachi and your main character.
Oh, and the protagonist. Oh, I never hear. Oh, I guess you do. You go persona occasionally. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's neat. That's neat. I like that. I like that idea. I'm a big fan of that. Similarly, like Dark Souls 3, the final boss is meant to represent like all the players that have like beaten the games before, essentially.
Colby, did you get the weird golden ending DLC extra part?
You guys are so far into the shit past where I could have possibly cared about anything. I haven't understood a single thing that any of you have said for like a fucking hour.
He was just there for Kanji, and then he was like, I did Kanji's dungeon, like, and I hung out with Kanji. I'm out. Which I totally understand. Kanji's great.
I played through this game, and I got up to, I actually did do the gas station attendant's dungeon. I never beat him because that boss fight is so fucking long, and he killed me like twice, and I was like, I am not doing this again. So it sits now. I'm at the beginning of that dungeon, and I will never fully complete this game.
I have to say that I feel what you're saying. So the final boss, the gas station attendant boss, God, I keep calling her that. Like they have like some cool mythological name.
Izanami.
I think it's Izanami.
It's Izanagi, right?
Yeah,
Izanami?
Yes.
So it's Izanami.
Yeah.
Izanami. So Izanami, what they do is they get to attack twice on their turn. And they have a 1-2 punch that they'll do when they're almost dead, where the first one is they inflict everyone, they do a move that tries to inflict a random status element on each member of the party. And then their second attack is instant kill anyone with a status effect on them. And so if you get a status effect on you from that first one, you cannot, that's it, you're dead. You lose the game. And that happened to me. I was an hour in and I died. And I was like, fuck this. But I came back the next day and it happened again, except in between, in the middle of their turn, they did that first one. And then Rize came in and said, heal, and healed everyone's status elements. So Rize saved the game for me by random chance, which I say random chance. If I didn't have her at like social link level 9, then I guess she may not have been able to do that. But still.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this game, but like such specific parts of the game and the stuff that you guys are talking about, like I know I've done this stuff, but I have absolutely no idea. Like, and I think it's just my brain, like the way my brain goes. And like, I even when I'm trying to play like a regular JRPG, like I know that this game is good, but I do not care what's going on. Like all of these games have so much so much story and character development and all this shit. And I'm like, the people who make these games are so talented, and it's so cool that they make this stuff that I could literally not give less of a shit about. And that's, I don't know if it's a shortcoming, but that's I understand that it's one of my things. And yeah, so like the fact that there were parts of this game that I was able to latch on is like saying something, because there are parts of this game that I remembered. And as soon as you said about Kanji's dungeon being the bathhouse and some of this other stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah. So I do remember it. I just needed my memory kick-started of it. It's just deep. Yeah, for the past hour, I'm like, the stuff that you guys have been talking about has just been blowing over my head. Like,
I don't remember this at all.
I don't remember half of it.
Sounds like you were struck by amnesia, and we should go on a 95-hour adventure to get your memory back.
It sounds like you couldn't see through the fog. How unbearable.
I would rather just live with the amnesia than to go through a JRPG style adventure. Like, just let me have forgotten everything.
That's so funny, because for me, like JRPGs, like Final Fantasy, I mean, Chrono Trigger is it's definitely my favorite RPG, but it's maybe my second or third favorite video game ever. And Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy 4, I don't know. So this was, I was blown away by this game. I mean, I put it right behind Final Fantasy 6 as my third favorite JRPG, but I like JRPGs. So, yeah,
same.
They're not my favorite. It's not my favorite genre, but I do like them a lot. So
the big eyeball thing, I was laughing really hard because you fight him and he's like, this is just what the people who watch the Midnight Channel want. Like they want to see people in the fog and they want me to rule. And then your team is like, we're going to beat you. And I'm like, yeah, shut up, Yosuke, though. Fuck off. And then you beat him and he's like, fine, I guess I'll leave because you guys don't want me here. And I was like, that's kind of anticlimactic. Like, if that was just like...
Then you had a little bit more, but then eventually he finally goes on a train and leaves and goes back to the town and everyone... I mean, the idea is that, you had your time together in high school and now they're all going to kind of go their different ways, but you all will stay Facebook friends,
Yeah.
Well, but you come back. Now, do you come... Is it only the golden... Do you only get to come back for summer vacation if you would get the golden ending?
Yeah, the golden ending is the new ending where it's implied that Mary can control the weather for some reason. And I think that there's two different endings, because there's one if you're in a relationship with her and one if you're not. And I think if you're in a relationship with her, she says live on TV that she loves you or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. See, I had our social link maxed out, obviously, but we weren't in a relationship. And when she's doing the weather, she's like, and also an extremely, very important person that I really care about is back in town. So I'm going to make sure the sun's shining all weekend. And then Nanako's like, can she do that? And Dojima's like, no, she's just joking. And she's like, I don't know. She seems to always be right about the weather. I liked it a lot. I liked that she got a job as a weather girl. I liked it.
Also, weather girl?
Marie.
Oh,
yeah.
I should have probably watched more before I, recorded a 3-hour podcast.
I liked it. You come back and everybody's finally wearing different clothes for the first time ever.
Is it a whole other, is it the same year?
We're burying the lead.
Yeah, it's just the summer.
But burying the lead. Kanji dyed his hair black.
And it looks terrible.
No, his natural hair color is black. It looks fucking awful.
Oh,
he needs to go back to dyeing it blonde.
Give me 2 seconds.
Bad.
Once again, my daughter, she watched me beat the final boss because she couldn't sleep. And she saw the final boss's second phase, with the skeleton body and stuff, and she goes, "Okay, that's way creepier than Shadow Teddy," which made me laugh. But then then she saw Kanji's hair and she was laughing. And today I said, hey, I'm going to talk about Persona 4 later. Do you want me to like share anything? And she said, yeah, tell them that Kanji should always keep his hair black because it looks good. So we found the fan.
That's funny. Yeah, Kanji with black hair just looks so weird to me.
And I do know that they continue, Joe. They continue the Persona 4 story, right? Like with someone like the dancing game and the fighting game, like sort of continues it.
The fighting game kind of continues it, and the other games kind of continue it, but they're not canon and things like that. So it's
Okay.
Isn't Persona Q canon?
they never really confirm whether they're canon or not. It's just kind of stuff that you because I say that because 5 has this really big issue of that where Persona 5 and it's Persona 5. There's like a Muso game that came out.
Strikers.
Yeah,
Yep.
Strikers. And then they're like, oh, that's the canon ending. And then Royal has nothing to do with that. And they're like, wait, I thought Strikers was canon. And they're like, no, now Golden's canon. But, one thing that I mentioned in the chat, too, that I was going to be mentioning up, too. Thankfully, Atlas has decided to stop doing this, by the way, because they did it with 3 games. And then Shin Megami Tensei, where they released, like, Persona 3, then Persona 3 FES, then Persona 4, then Golden, then 5, then Royale, and then you have Shin Megami Tensei 5, and then Nocturne. They said they realized it's fucking stupid to do that, so that's why Persona 3 has Persona 3 Reloaded, and then there is actual DLC. And they're like, yeah, from now on, we're just doing it like this. Like, there's no more director's cuts or whatever. We're releasing a full game, and if we want to release an expansion, it will be DLC. It won't be a whole other game you have to buy.
But I swore with Persona 3 Reload, they said, we're not doing episode Aegis. And then at the Game Awards, I think, they were like, oh, hey, by the way.
Yeah, they
here's
lied.
episode Aegis. Yeah.
They lied.
Which I guess it's good that they're doing it as DLC. But from what I heard, like, is that even in Persona 3 FES, like, episode Aegis was just like a nothing burger.
It's kind of a nothing burger.
Wow, I'm just watching the cutscene of the ending. God, they look all different. You guys were not kidding.
Yeah.
Colby,
I
thoughts?
don't like it.
It looks
I
terrible.
like Rize's new outfit.
I do too. It looks like a whole year had changed, not just summer.
Yeah, it's a year. It's a summer after he goes. It's a summer after.
Oh,
he goes back to
okay.
school, which is
That-
a whole
okay.
year. Yeah,
Oh, it's supposed to be a whole year later?
yeah. It's him coming home from the summer after he's been at school for a year. You know, there's summer vacation they have.
Okay, that.
Okay.
Yeah, with that new hairstyle, Teddy looks like he's 35 years old, or Kanji looks like he's 35
Yeah,
years old.
Kanji
He
does
does.
exactly. Exactly.
It-
Kanji looks like
yeah.
a grown up.
Looks like a grown-ass man hanging out with a bunch of little kids.
They based his age off of Troy Baker, who voices him in Golden.
Oh,
If you guys didn't know that.
interesting.
I think we.
I only know that because I was playing, oh my God, Tales of Something. And Troy Baker is the main character in that game.
Oh,
And so when
fun
Kanji
fact.
started talking, I was like, huh, sounds similar to his take on this character.
If you
I
live
think
in Minnesota,
one thing,
you
just
can
looking at that picture, and for people to know, there's like at the end of the summer vacation DLC or ending, whatever, like take a photo together, and then it kind of like shows that photo on your desk later. And in the photo, Marie is wearing the glasses that they all wear in the Shadow World because she's from the Shadow World and living in the real world, so she has to wear the glasses that they all wear. At least that's my interpretation. She's the only
I'm
one
thinking
wearing
that.
them, and she doesn't wear them else any other time in the game. But she wears them now that she's in the real world. I don't know. I thought that was
makes
neat.
sense. I'm gonna go with that.
But Teddy doesn't wear them.
Yeah, Teddy doesn't wear them though, so that maybe she just likes the glasses. I don't know. That throws my whole theory into disarray.
She
Also,
looks
Naoto
great
is-
in them.
She
Yeah, she
does.
She looks like Bayonetta,
She
Nah,
does look like
except in a
Bayonetta.
better game than Bayonetta.
Colby, you love
Agreed.
Bayonetta. What are you talking about?
You can go back and listen to episode fucking what?
I don't know.
275 of games
Just
my mom found on
stop it.
Bayonetta, and you can hear my thoughts on Bayonetta.
I
You
was
bitch
with
about
you,
it?
Michael. Bayonetta was a game that I got had hyped to me so much, and then I started playing. I was like, "This is fine, I guess."
Bayonetta
it was-
2, way better.
It's okay.
Bayonetta 2 way worse.
No, Bayonetta 2 is so good.
Colby, you were close. 278.
Oh wow.
It's okay.
So, hey.
Bayonetta 3 is like spending a wonderful night with a person, and then you go to bed, and you have the best time ever, and you wake up, and you found out not only are they gone, they shit the bed. So,
So it's Amber Heard?
probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, Amber Heard, God, she was hot, and then it turned out she was nutty as hell.
Now,
But they're both
this,
nutty in that situation. So
this is out of nowhere, and you guys have been saying you, and apparently that is the main character's canonical name, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
but I've not been
you
saying
know
it because I find it annoying.
The first time I played this, because you can name your character, since this was a JRPG, I expected to hate it and not get all the way through it. So when they asked me to name my main character, I named him Porksy Dingwhistle. And ever since then, every time I play a Persona game, that's my main character's name.
Porksy Dingwhistle.
Porksy Dingwhistle.
I
His
have
name is my name too.
I have a much stupider way of doing that. There's a couple of YouTubers that played Persona 4, and I keep the name for all the games I play for them because they no longer exist. So my character for every Persona game is Kenpachi Ramasama. So that way, when they say his name, they say Ramasama-kun or Ramasama-senpai. So it sounds really fucking stupid.
No, that sounds awesome. Ramasama Senpai. I'm a fucking weeb, so I'm Ryu Mononoke.
I just put my real name in.
Yeah, I googled canon Persona 4 name and went, "Oh, you know Arikami. That sounds nice." And then for Persona 3, I googled Persona 3 canon name.
And what did you do in Persona 5?
Tupac again. Because that's my Dark Souls characters. Like every Dark Souls character, like in 1 it was Tupac. For Dark Souls 2 I did Tupac 2, and then Bloodborne I think it was just Tupac because it was different enough. And then Dark Souls 3 I put Tupac the third. So gotta have fun.
I really like
But
that
when I
picture
do
you guys
play-
posted in the chat.
When I do replay Persona 5, I'll Google Persona 5 canon name.
So 3 and 5 both have multiple names because there's one that was suggested. There's one that's suggested for the game. There's one for the manga, and then Persona 3 has movies, and then Persona 5 is an anime. So Persona 5 has a different name for, I believe, the manga and then the anime as well. I think Persona 4 is the only one that uses you for like everything, which is weird.
I don't like
I'll
it. I
probably
want
just
the
go
game
with the cool sounding one.
to give me a
Yeah,
name.
there's like I didn't know I saw the YU thing, people calling it that online, and I just figured the fans had done that because they did the same thing with Baldur's Gate 3. I can't remember what the name is that everyone uses for the protagonist in Baldur's Gate 3, but I don't like it.
Oh yeah. It's because the creators call it that, and so it's stuck for some reason.
Oh, it's something that sounds like that.
It's not Wilfredo sauce. That was my Baldur's Gate 3 character name.
All right, I think we should. Any last things you want, or should we go to questions, comments?
I just want to say it's Tav in Persona.
Tab, yeah.
Tav is in
Okay.
the avatar. Tav. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. This is not the record, by the way. I was Googling the longest episode I ever recorded is still Kingdom Hearts at 3.5 hours edited.
All right. Well, we got to go because we got to keep going because we
I
can't
was
let
gonna
Kingdom
say-
Hearts be the best of anything.
Let's
Sorry, you know what? Doesn't
I
matter.
can't make it that long.
let's
I'm
talk
ready to
about
fall asleep.
Nanako some more.
It does not matter because I'm telling y'all now, as the guy for the Kingdom Hearts podcast, the Kingdom Hearts 3 episode is probably going to beat that. So
I hate
I am looking
hate my
forward
life.
to that episode.
I'm not looking forward to that. That might have to be.
I am hoping to hear Mike cry live on a podcast because I'm so.
Make sure you start it later than we started this one.
No, it'll be starting in the morning.
I
4
am so
a.m.
excited to hear Mike go, "Oh," so many times during Kingdom
Yep,
Hearts 3 episode. Just like,
sounds accurate.
oh, that's why. Because like I beat Kingdom Hearts 3, and as a Kingdom Hearts stan, even I had to go to Google and go, okay, so
Yeah, I won't have to. I just asked Joe and Emmanuel, what the fuck does this mean? And they just tell me. It's wonderful. And Phoebe.
And then me and Manuel have a Keyblade fight because both our memories are awful and don't remember which one's right.
All right. Let's
on
go to
brand for the characters in Kingdom Hearts.
All right, let's go to questions, comments, and memories. First, from the I watched the entire Orbital Super replay from Casey Hecox, friend of the show. P4 is an incredible game. I love the small town setting and the focus on weather, while I prefer 3 and 5 is absolutely an amazing game to introduce such a lovable cast of characters. From Benjamin Loveblade, I bought a Vita just to play Persona 4 Golden and still have both. From Quentin Crow, Persona 4 Golden was my first ever Platinum trophy game, 1010 Legendary. Right? And then from the official Laser Time community, got a few longer ones. From Joel Menjivar, friend of the show. Persona 4 Gold is one of my top 2 games of all time, the other being Persona 5. P4 always feels like summer to me. First time I played P4 Golden was on a PS Vita over a summer where I wasn't working. One of my most vivid memories of this game was playing it during the 2013 floods that really fucked like half the city I live in. Fortunately, I lived pretty far from the rivers and wasn't affected by the flooding, but it ended up being a pretty expensive disaster for the province and city. And for those that are curious, it's Calgary, I guess, wherever that is in Canada. So I have no idea, but we do have Canadian listeners. So
Calgary, they had the Olympics there.
I never even heard of it. But again, I don't know.
You never heard of Calgary, Alberta, Canada?
I've heard Alberta.
That's where Bret the Hitman Hart is from.
Oh.
No, not Bret the Hitman Hart. Who's from Calgary, Alberta, Canada?
I don't know. I just
a lot of famous
Finland.
people.
Oh,
And by the way, the Calgary Olympics were in 1988, which is probably before most of y'all were born. So.
I was 1. Does that count?
Oh,
Maybe. No, I would have been not 1 yet. This happened in the summer, I'm assuming. This is the Winter Olympics. Then I was 1. Born in November. I was born in 87. All right. And then from Julian Barber, I discovered the series through the Giant Bomb Endurance run. After that, I went back and played 3 and 4 myself, and the rest is history. I'm not sure how I'd rank them, but 4 really does hold a special place in my memories, either watching or playing it. And from Antoine Thomas. So 4 was my first official Persona game. I knew that 2 and 3 were things, but I just never got around to them. One day I came across a Let's Play of 4 and it intrigued me. I went out to the nearest GameStop, and luckily they had 1 copy left. I love the story and the music. Your Affection and Heartbreak are 2 of my favorite songs in the game.
Yeah, Persona, all the Persona series have a really good idea. If you ever really genuinely need something, even to fall asleep to, just type in like Persona 5 or Persona 4 music with rain, or Persona 4, Persona 5, or Persona 3, like study mix or whatever. And there's like 3 or 4 hour songs of just like really chill, really just like you could literally put in the background for like, even if like at work, and probably no one would like even notice it was video game music.
I got somebody listening to the Persona 5 soundtrack because I was listening to it at work, and they were like, what are you listening to? And I'm like, video game soundtrack. And he's like, ugh. And then I'm like, no, take one of my earbuds and listen to it. And then he was like, oh, the next day he's like, oh, I downloaded that soundtrack. Holy shit. I was like, hell yeah.
It's a good soundtrack. It's a really good soundtrack.
It's a really good soundtrack.
It's a really good soundtrack.
You would never see it coming.
We're all tired, okay, guys? Like, we're all exhausted. From Jordan Chin, Persona 4 Golden is one of the greatest stories ever told. I recommend it to literally anyone. From Travis Boswell, Golden is great. Played it for the first time last year and enjoyed it even more than P4 Vanilla. From Gary Ginn, I got 4 Golden at some point in a bundle, but I haven't jumped in yet, and I've never played a Persona game. Sounds like I should bump this up to my to-be-played-someday list. I mean, I'm assuming you didn't
played someday list.
We spoke. We still, I mean, maybe now, wait a bit, so you forget it exists. But from Peach,
I threw away my to-be-played someday list. I figure if I don't care enough to play it now, then I'm probably never going to care enough to play it.
See, what you do is you make a podcast where you play games every week, and then you just kind of get stuff done. Weird.
I'll just come on this one.
I know I don't really have a list. I just surround myself with video games, and I fill up a Steam library. And then I watch, my big thing now is watching YouTube videos that recommend like games you should play that you might have forgot existed. And then I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm like, I own that. Or the What Are You Playing? If people recommend stuff like Lake, for example, I like to bring that up. That was from a What Are You Playing that I now have did on the show and doing the DLC in Christmas. Like, I let people just introduce me to games and I'll get to them.
I just wait until Mike says that we're playing a game for a podcast.
And then you jump in for 100 hours and play something.
Everybody should play Chained Echoes.
And that episode needs more love too. So.
You can't say that, because then you have a situation where it's like, give an example. Hey Joe, I know you really like Resident Evil. Do you want to play Revelations 2? Yeah, I want to play Revelations 2. Silent Hill 2 remake, hand on my shoulder. Did you forget I come out early on Thursday? No.
The good news is that Revelations 2 is not that long and not that good.
We'll talk about that next week.
We're going to talk about that next week. Anyways,
So one last from this group. I have more. From Pete Schul, I've been picking at P4 Golden on my Vita for years now. I'm not at all far from the end, but one of the last times I played, I jumped online to get an idea for how much time I had left, and whatever website that Google led me to said who the killer was right in one of the opening paragraphs. That is, I still plan on finishing it someday, but that put a huge damper on my motivation.
Wow.
That's shitty. I'm not surprised. I mean, I do spoil stuff too, but like, still, don't.
Warning.
I think we warned people like
We did.
19 times before any spoilers came out. In
Yeah,
this
no, we did.
podcast.
I mean, I do with certain games and certain things in this podcast. Like, if something is a heavy story, I'll try to warn people. I mean, there's certain stuff where it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, there's just certain games where it's like, you're not playing this for the story. Like, sure, the story's great, but you're not concerned. Like Castlevania, for example, you're not like, oh no, guess what, Dracula's back. Oh wow, who would have guessed? Like, you know, certain games it doesn't matter. You're not playing it for that.
That's like if Mike started the podcast going, "Hi, welcome to Games My Mom Found," where you find out Adachi's the fucking killer. Who's joining me today?
I wouldn't. Yeah. Oh, that's just shitty. And then from the Persona fans group I joined, just for this podcast, for Jasmine Steiner, Persona 4 Golden is actually how I got into it and it's still my favorite. I played 5 after and recently P3 Reload. From Adina Jamal, had the most laugh out of my Persona series. Currently my first playthrough, definitely one of my favorites. Hey, here you go, Colby. From Randy Ruger, she is best girl. Critical hit to the nads.
Hell yeah. Correct.
Yeah, and that galactic punt animation cracks me up every time.
Man,
The Galactic Punch
Punch
and then her
also
weapons
really
are just
good,
shoes, just different
Yeah.
shoes. How
Mhm.
good is
I
that?
love it. My only issue is Galactic Punch. She doesn't punch. She does like a sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, it's not a
That's
punch.
due to a mistranslation error.
Okay.
I mean, you
they
could
just
be
never
right,
bothered
to be
doing
honest.
Yeah.
it.
It was supposed to be Galactic Sidekick.
Galactic Sidekick doesn't sound as good. Galactic Punt sounds awesome.
Yes.
Plus,
Punt is
she punts them out of the battle, and it is so funny every time. Like, it
Yeah,
does not
it
matter
is
what
so
enemy
useful.
it is. She's
It's
just
so
like,
fucking useful.
I'm
She just
getting this
deletes an enemy from the
for this one.
board.
Yeah.
We're doing it, gentlemen. We're gonna get Mike here in the 4-hour range.
Mike will be sleeping by then. You'll just hear me in the background. So that's what would be happening. Or my
We've
wife
done
would come
that.
down and be like,
We've
"You need
done
to be
that to you. We've talked after. We've been on podcasts where after you left, we were on for another hour.
Yeah.
Was that Control? No.
Control, Alan Wake
Yeah.
2.
Alan Wake, American Nightmare.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We do need to do
all the
Alan,
Remedy games.
Alan Wake 1 at some point, by the way, too.
I'm sure we'll be doing it when we go to the Quantum Break one.
Yeah. Because I don't normally record at night, except I have to for you, Colby, since you have that
Ye-
third shift job. You know?
Yeah, you have
Bullshit.
to for me.
See, it's harder with the with the Remedy stuff. That I have Phoebe too, and Phoebe's schedule is almost opposite to yours is
Yeah.
for third shift.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more.
Yeah,
juggling.
and Phoebe needs to be on those Remedy ones.
Yes, but Phoebe also can go with no sleep, which she shouldn't do, but she does.
Yeah,
That's
she
neither here nor there.
but-
yeah.
So
Don't worry. Someone sends her very rude text messages about that, so it's okay.
all right, and from the RPG Sanctuary group, this is the last group. I can't read all these, but thank you guys for what you posted. I will read some. From Pedro Rafael. I said that wrong. It's not a whole lot of new things from OGP4. It feels like DLC, but sold as a full game. It's a shame, but it's good because Persona 4 is good. One thing that I liked are the bike rides with party members. It adds a new meaning for every party member in the form of new skills. For example, if I recall correctly, Chie can learn a lot of Hama skills, and Naoto can have all the element magic. That's the most welcome mechanic I remember. Extra dungeon, extra social link, not good enough to justify playing this game just for that, but I won't oppose playing Persona 4 again for everyone because it's such a good game. I said how I played the original, then played the new one. Sometimes I word my things differently, so it doesn't feel like I'm just asking for questions. I don't want a group to get upset with me, you know. But we're gonna leave it at that. From Zaire on, Persona 4 Golden made me fall in love with JRPGs. It was a game that I played as soon as I get home from school. The game made me feel as I was spending time with a group of friends, and I felt pretty sad when I finished playing the game. Man, that's got to be kind of surreal playing it while you're still in high school.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
surreal playing it in high school.
I mean, I was already gone by that point.
Yeah.
By the time I found it.
I was teaching high school.
Yeah, I was well
It
into
came
my
out.
30s the first time I played this.
It's got to be surreal, too.
I have to imagine it's the same feeling as being a senior in high school and going to see Toy Story 3 in the theater with your friends and being like, oh, holy shit, we are about to graduate and grow up like Andy did.
That's fair. I forget. I forget a lot of that for high school. I wasn't there senior year, for the most part, I pretty much had all my credits, so I wasn't at school anymore. I just went half days, went to work, and wasn't involved. I was like, fuck this place, get me out of here. And then the last quarter, I didn't even go anymore. I had enough credits, so I just stopped going.
No,
So when people talk about, high school is great, I'm like, I wasn't even there my senior year. I was gone. I was busy being stupid with a girl.
I was like competing for valedictorian, taking AP classes and being in Mu Alpha Theta and choir prep. I was super nerd in high school.
Well, that's good though. I mean, you made use of. I was just working and playing video games.
I was doing that too. I didn't make valedictorian either.
The main thing this game reminds me of is I hate myself every single time for it. So I just remember like a 16 or 17-year-old me going around calling my fucking friend senpai and just being like, dude, if I could go back in time, I would whoop your ass harder than I possibly fucking could.
That is wonderful. I love those kids. Those are some of my favorite kids.
Did you do the Naruto run down the hallway too?
I did.
Yeah.
But I'm not because of Naruto, but I did, yes.
The difference now, guys, is when we were in high school, when I was in high school in the 90s, if someone had an anime t-shirt, that would have been like if somebody walked into the school, I mean, first of all, covered in shit, but also carrying the Ark of the Covenant. Like the idea that there's a such thing as a shirt with an anime character on it, like that was not something that existed as far as I was aware of. I was watching anime, but the idea that they made shirts for it. And now I would say 60% of the shirts I see today are anime shirts.
Yeah, see, when I was in high school in the 2010s, no, I graduated 2010. In the 2000s, you could not really talk that you liked nerd stuff because you would just get mocked incessantly. And then fucking Big Bang Theory came out, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, nerds are so cool!" And it's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I love that show, but that's stupid.
I had sort of the same thing in high school because I was a huge Ramones fan since I was a kid. So I would wear torn up jeans and Chuck Taylors, and everybody made fun of me. And then Nirvana came out with their first album, and all of a sudden, everybody's looking to me for fashion advice. And it's like, fuck you. You made fun of me for like years for wearing this stuff.
Exactly.
And now you want to know where I'm buying my shit at? Go to fuck.
Go to Hot Topic.
There was no such thing as Hot Topic when I was a kid.
All right, I'm going to read a couple more. Here's a good one from, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Nugan Min. I cannot stomach this game's pacing and its sense of humor. The pacing is truly atrocious up until Nanako's dungeon. The game meandered and dragged on and on with no meaningful goals in sight during this period, forcing you to visit dungeons at seemingly random intervals. The story went nowhere and the characters were not interesting enough to fill in the shortcomings. Though I will say these guys have the best chemistry out of the three Neo-Sona games. The game's sense of humor feels like it belongs in a middle schooler's locker. Does anybody think swimsuits are funny anymore? This game makes so many jokes about it that it becomes a farce. Granted, the other Neo-Sona games also have scenes and jokes to the effect, but they were never as intrusive as this game made them to be. I seriously groan whenever these characters make a joke because they are always the least funniest thing you've ever heard. But all my grapes aside, this is a fine game.
Wow.
Okay, you know what? Mike, I need you to post this episode. And I need you to find the timestamp for me saying this right now and post to that guy's comment. I'm going to say this right now. You have awful fucking taste. You cannot tell me this is the best of the three. I just said this is the weakest of the three. You can suck my complete fucking ass.
Well, he did say he had a couple more I didn't read. I still think this is the weakest one of the Neo-Sona games simply for all the aforementioned reasons, but it's still worth the playthrough if you are a JRPG enthusiast.
Complete bad take two. The game's extremely predictable. You can't say it's all over the place. You go to the world, you save someone, then you see a new friend who's obviously on the cover, and you know, oh, that's the next dungeon I gotta go to. You do that 5 times to get your whole fucking team. It's super obvious. Suck my ass.
And also, the pacing for this game is what makes it good. Like I said, I've said it a bunch of times. If this played like a normal RPG, I would have hated this game too. The pacing, the breeziness of it is, I think, its strength. I think with all the things that are wrong with it, the breeziness and the lightheartedness, except for, some of the heavier stuff. But like for the most part, it's a story about a year with friends in high school. And I think that really is its strength. I think the pacing and all of that stuff is this game's strength.
100%.
I agree.
Agreed.
All right,
and
and
the
then
characters are great, and yeah, the humor is silly and juvenile because it's an anime JRPG. It's trying to be lighthearted and fun. Like,
Yeah, it's
just
an anime.
learn to enjoy stuff. You don't have to be serious about everything.
It's an
It doesn't
anime
have-
And high
JRPG
schoolers-
about high school students.
Yeah.
Maybe
It doesn't have to
Schoolers
all be like
are
Kramer versus
juvenile.
Kramer as shit. Like, you can just
Yeah.
enjoy like a
All right,
silly.
this one
thing.
will get us talking. I'm not reading the name. He said, I completed this game just recently. I thought it was a cool game, but so much dialogue and Kanji's story is weird for today's standards. Naoto too.
Yeah, I get what they're
mean-
saying.
True.
It's only weird because Yosuke exists.
Yeah.
Well, no, I get the idea of that. So I'll say the first time when I played through on the PS2, I quit right after Kanji's dungeon because I was like, this bathhouse thing just feels like this like really like offensive stereotype.
Yeah.
And then playing through the game, you kind of like get to understand where Kanji's coming from more.
Yeah.
But I get
Yeah.
what he's saying. I can see how, like, yeah, you definitely would like to see both Kanji and Naoto handled better. But I think you have to like also understand the weakness of what you're working with a little bit. Like you've got to meet some things part way on these things. I think.
What I think he's trying to say is that this game is woke garbage. It has gay characters and women's, and nobody should be playing this trash.
I feel like that commenter maybe wasn't trying to say that, but that
No, I
know.
don't actually think he was trying
no,
to say that.
I do think the commenter though is feeling kind of like woke and is feeling like kind of offended by stuff, and I think that's completely understandable.
Oh yeah.
To feel that way.
And the
about it.
last comment I'm going to read because I'm tired. From Rob Bastos, my favorite game ever for me at least. No other game nails immersion the way Persona 4 does. They do a great job of making all the characters and situations feel real. Like these were really a group of friends. Damn game had me wanting a little sister. I'm torn between Yukio and Reese for best girl. That is fair.
I completely agree with that statement. I have 2 older sisters and I hate it. I have older brothers and I hate it. And I have younger brothers and I hate it. I don't have any younger sisters. I do, but they situational, but whatever. But it's like, man, I've always wanted a little sister. It can be big bro. It can be looked upon. It can be the
I don't
cool
have any
guy.
siblings.
Yeah.
Well, I have cats. Those are technically my siblings the way my mother treats them. So hey, I mean, I called them my brothers and sisters when I was a kid because they essentially were that. They're just
I
cats.
have half siblings who are all 30 or 40 years older than me. So
Well,
when I say 40, no, 30 years older than me. 40 would be kind of a little bit much.
my friend.
20 to 30. There you go. 20 to 30 years older than me. That's what I meant to say.
I have very close cousins, and I consider them siblings who were all raised together. So
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I
and
have one of those.
Before we go to Shelf Stacker Box, we're going to give away a code. And we're going to give away Axiom Verge.
Oh,
So good.
such a fucking good game.
Axiom
really play
Verge
it one day.
rules.
Oh, it's
And
so good. Oh, have us on when you do it, Mike. It's
I will.
good. It's a Metroidvania.
You're my Metrovania
you
guy.
can seriously, you can knock through it in like 7 hours too. You can do it.
The sequel is
the
great
code is-
too, no matter what.
Yeah,
people say.
the sequel is awesome also.
3K74WXYXY70JR9A. That is your Steam code for Axiom Verge.
Whoever
You're-
gets that is lucky.
Yeah, whoever gets that, you got a fucking great time ahead of you.
That was the first game that Epic gave away for free on the Epic Game Store when they launched it.
oh,
That's why I downloaded the Epic launcher in the first place, was to get Axiom Verge for free.
Okay.
And then I pre-ordered Axiom Verge 2 on the Switch because
Yeah, I bought it.
Yeah.
I bought it right away because, I heard a lot of stuff about it, like as it was coming out, and I'm like, yes, this is right up my alley.
it is a Metroidvania, Mike.
Yes.
Yeah, I know a lot about it. I've just never gotten around to playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Metro, and the sequel is a Castlevania Metroidvania.
Yeah.
All right, we should go to Shelf Stacker Box. And Joe, why don't you lead us in?
I'll go ahead and say, ironically, I put this on the stack. I love the Persona series. I usually have an okay time with this game. There's a lot of things I like about it, and a lot of things I don't. But that's because this wasn't my first one. 3 was, and 3 is always a much far superior game. But I also still recommend it if you really want to get in a Persona series. That's the main way to play it currently. Is you would start with Golden, and then play 5 Royale, and then just play the new one. And then if you still need a Persona Kravich, don't play the Shin Megami Tensei games because all those games don't use lube. So I would probably just go with Like a Dragon and probably try Metaphor. I think Metaphor probably won't be that fucking hard either. So
I disagree with that. I think 4 is as close to a Persona game as you're going to get. I think 4 is actually not that bad as far as difficulty goes.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's a situation where it's like it. I'm not saying it's bad. I just think it's the weakest because they did try to like make it more palatable for America, and I think when they realized what they did between 3 and 4, that's why I think 5 is also like 5's a really good one too as well. And the only reason why I say play 3 after 5 is because 3 Reload, the new one, has a lot of quality of life updates that they fixed from 5, so you don't want to end up mixing all that up. So
okay, and Nate.
I just want to say that I would put this game in the stack, and that Yosuke is that Facebook friend from high school that, like, you're like, yeah, I knew him, and then you see him get arrested for something, and you're like, oh yeah, I can see that. Fuck Yosuke. But I put this game in the stack. I really enjoyed it. I do think that there are some pacing issues as far as if you do the dungeon too fast, and then you're just waiting. So basically until something else happens. But when shit starts popping, and I liked it enough to buy Persona 3 Reload and Persona 5 Royal. So
okay, and Colby.
This, I have my trusty list of everything numbered, and this game is number 25 on my list. I love the absolute shit out of this game. But I gotta tell you, I'm stacking it as well because I do not see myself going through this game another entire time. But like I said, there's stuff that's very problematic about this game, but I didn't really notice it as I was playing because there's also so much stuff that you can latch onto, and like it's so charming and it's so breezy, and like it until the very end of the game, it doesn't feel like anything really has consequences, even though it's a murder story. It feels very light, and I really like that about it. I'm glad that I had this experience of this game, but I don't see myself going through 100 hours of a game again.
Okay, and Kerry.
Exactly the same. It's a shelf in my heart. It's a stack in reality because while I would say this is probably my third favorite JRPG ever, I don't have time to play a 97-hour game twice. So this game is going on the stack as a cherished memory, but I don't see myself replaying it.
Okay. And I'll go last. I'm going to put this on the shelf. I love this game. I can see where you guys are coming from, but I'm a little surprised. But no, I love this game. I thought it's just so good.
Nothing wrong with that. People still say 4 is your favorite, so yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. I don't got time to play it again.
Yeah, it's definitely it's not on the stack for lack of love for the game. It's for lack of being able to play it again ever.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, that's fair.
That's why I say a shelf in my heart, a stack in reality.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it.
I love this game, but I just never gonna have time to play this a second time.
All right, I think that's everything.
I did want to ask a question. Is the anime worth watching?
So funny enough, the anime is kind of just if you've played the game and you want an excuse to see stuff animated. Even weirder, there's 2 animes. So there's very much the Persona 4 anime and then Persona 4 Golden anime. But the Golden just animates stuff from the that wasn't in the anime originally, which is a weird way to do an anime. The only thing that's worth it from the Golden anime is the first episode, where it very much implies the main character is in the New Game Plus scenario, because he basically kills like waves upon waves of shadows with just Izanagi, and it's like the coolest thing ever. And it's playing the fucking battle music in the back. If anything, I'll send you a link for it later.
So check it out.
Yeah, if you want, if you want something to watch and try and see what it looks like animated, yeah, it's not bad.
Sure. Cool.
I should mention what we're talking about next week. Next week, you can hear us talk about Resident Evil Revelations 2.
I'll be there.
And Nate.
I'll be there.
So you can hear us talk about more Resident Evil stuff. And that's all I got to say right now. And let's go to plugs. And Nate, where can we find you at?
Nate died.
Find Nate anywhere.
Can you not hear me?
No, you didn't come through at all.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can find me at Nate Does Comedy on TikTok and wherever you buy groceries from, too.
And Colby.
Oh, the new season of Jack Billings Presents starts November 5th. And if you are a fan of Games My Mom Found, you will be hearing one Mr. Mike Albertin doing his very first voice acting in an episode of the new season. He plays just a disgusting character. The grossest mouth noises you'll ever hear coming out of somebody.
I don't know if I can handle that.
It's I also have misophonia, but it's funny enough that I could sit through, what was coming up. So it's not like horrific, but it is pretty gross. Or you can listen to This Bizarre Adventure, which is we'll call it a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast, even though it's a little bit more than that lately. But yeah, check that out anywhere that you buy podcasts.
All right. And Kerry.
Hey, I'm Karuseta, Kerooscta on Twitch and YouTube. You can watch me modify and repair video game consoles on there once my workshop is less than 100 degrees. But I also just kind of hit the share button on whatever I'm happen to playing on my PS5. So actually, we'll probably see me playing a lot of Persona 5 Royal on there in the near future. But yeah, that's me.
All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's over 650 other episodes of this podcast. You can find everything we do on Podbean. Definitely go check out our giant catalog. We do movies, comics, TV shows, all sorts of stuff. So definitely go do that. If you want to support the show, we do a Patreon. Little dog vote in our Patreon polls. We have 1 to 2 polls a month. So definitely go support the show and you get to affect the show. And we have a Discord. If you want to be on the show, talk with us, suggest things for the show, you can do it all in the Discord. Please join that. And want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Elena and Hell Has Fury. Follow her on TikTok and Instagram. Definitely go check her out and check out A Gamer Looks at 40. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, TikTok, all those things. We can be fine. Rate and review us wherever you get your podcast. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Persona!
Bye.